Hello, everyone, and welcome to RHAP's coverage of Australian Survivor Brains V Brawn II. I'm your host, Shannon Guss, here for Finale Week Feedback Show. We're going to be looking back at the result, the win, the season, looking ahead to all the exciting things we have coming, some rankings. I don't know. We got a lot. We got some great questions from the listeners. Thank you to everyone who sent in questions. Thank you to everyone who's been listening all season. And we're gonna finish up in-season coverage, which is amazing. And then we're going to get to the deep dive. So it's not a break in anything, but let's welcome in the amazing guest that we have to talk about this. Firstly, someone who knows what it's like to be in a finale. So I thought that was good to bring him in.
Eden Porter in the flashback.
I wish I could say even for the jury, that would be just devastating. But no, Mark, how are you? Justice for Candy, by the way, is what Mark has as his name, and that's crazy.
Absolutely, Justice for Candy. Yeah. Let it be known, off the bat, Justice for Candy. Gone too soon. Shannon, yeah, I shed a tear. I shed a tear seeing those little pegs come out of the ground like a little Viet Cong trap. It was scary. It was emotional. Saw my man AJ go out in a valiant effort, but what a great finale! What a great season! Thanks for having me on, Shannon. And yeah, let's go.
It does strongly feel like they used a lot of the final challenge money for the massive wheels that they built for you guys. And this was like, they cut down some bamboo. I mean, like it came out of the ground, which was cool.
It came out of the ground.
Yeah. The engineering was more than I can do. But I mean, just compared to the wheels that you guys had and the torture chambers we've seen, like these were like kind of like little bindies on the ground, really. Right.
Shani, no poverty ain't cheap. Like,
Yeah, we didn't have a car. We had no car sponsor, no Set for Life sponsor this season, and no Ferris wheels either. Yeah, no KFC. It was just IKEA, which is a little crazy. Anyway, we haven't even introduced Eden. Eden's here. Hello, Eden. How are you?
not as big an intro, but that's fine, Shannon. That's fine.
So happy to have Eden here. I'm so happy to have Eden. I caught up with Eden, got breakfast with Eden the other day, and then I said to him, "I'll see you Wednesday night," and he was like, "What?" And I was like, "The feedback show," and he was like, "Oh yeah." And now here you are. You made it. Yeah.
And I appeared out of nowhere to enjoy this lovely chat that we're going to have. We've got the Invisible Hand back in action. We're coming at you live. It's going to be a great chat, a great finale. I really enjoyed it. It really came home strong. There's a lot to sort of talk about this season. We've had ups, we've had downs, we've had craziness. It's going to be good. It's going to be great.
Yeah. What did you love about the finale? What did you feel like it finished up for the season in such a great way? Lydia, okay,
the star, the absolute star of the episode.
I loved Eddie. Although I much prefer partners with loved ones. I think partners is the way to go with loved ones. It's a lot more emotional. But AJ doing the AJ stuff to Kaylin's mum had me anyway. He was like very much, Kaylin's mum, you're so great. I love you so much. You've got beautiful eyes. Thank you so much for coming out here today. I thought that was really fun. I thought Miles's win, underdog win, I think that was fantastic. The emotion from Kaylin. The final tribal council, it started off well. The wheels sort of fell off about halfway through when it became pretty obvious who was going to win. But a great final tribal council performance by Miles. It's always good to see that. I just really enjoyed it. A good winner. And you know what I like? I like a big fan being a winner. We haven't had a fan being a winner for a little while, so it was good to have someone like that.
I don't know why you're saying it was obvious. Why? Because the music started getting like ascending, and then people started smiling.
The swelling music, and everyone's faces when Kaylin spoke about halfway through.
Yawning.
And then the cheering for Miles whenever he opened his mouth about halfway through was fantastic. His editors really went to town.
Yeah, I was talking about. I was saying on Twitter today, like I feel like the faces at Tribal Council, like these are the things you could like. Even the Frankenbites to me are more like even like a really egregious Frankenbite to me is more believable than the faces at Tribal Council. Like people like they were making faces at AJ. They were never going to vote for him. They will edit in any face at any time and any reaction. Like you cannot trust that. And certainly at the final Tribal Council, they literally showed people smiling at Miles, and like I'm sure they were. But like they're telling a very specific story, and for AJ, a lot of it was like this man will lose. So yeah, people never ever read anything into the faces of anyone at any tribal council. It could be from a different tribal council. Anyway, that's my point. Mark, you were saying. Yeah, moving
No,
on.
I lost my train of thought.
No.
I think it was something like if we ran this podcast 100 times, like I would laugh at 90% of Eden's jokes. Like that was like about as funny as the lines that Kalen was delivering at Final Tribal Council. Like that just as soon as he said the repeatability argument, it was
man.
It was a big lead.
It did not go down well. He did not read. And you know what? This comes from someone that hasn't watched a lot of the show. He binge watched Titans versus Rebels, represent Mark, beforehand.
Nice.
So he know that, but he's not familiar with the Final Tribal Council format. He doesn't know how to pitch. And it was pretty evident that he didn't read how the jury was accepting of the game and what the different juries need different things. This jury wanted people to really take ownership, to really say specific moves that they did. Kalen spoke a lot in general, like I did this and this and this. And yeah, that oh my God, that running this 100 times and I'm the most reliable, stable person to get to the end. Oh man, my heart sank when that sort of came out. I was like, oh no, man. Nah.
You know what I like though? Like, okay, give Kalen some grace. Like I absolutely agree. What I liked, Miles gave me what I thought I was going to get from Miles, except what I loved about Miles, which I think is an intangible golden touch, is the passion. Miles, the passion and the excitement for the game, you could see it oozing out of every pore of his body. And I think that sometimes, like in the early stages of the game, like the passion that Miles had for the game, like overtook him. Like, he got out of control in his mind and he was yabbering away at Laura that first episode. But he then was able to channel that passion into something that was self-reflective. He was empathetic, but still showed them that he was the superfan geek that they all knew him and loved him for. And I think he hit a beautiful balance in the passion and the strategic argument. And I think I honestly think that arguing all your strategy is one thing, but I think you need to tell a story, and I think you need to show your personality and the humility. And Miles did it, and his pitch about surviving and the passion and the resilience, it really won me over. Whereas, and then unfortunately for my man Kalen, my fellow Queenslander, another Queenslander, he just seemed it seemed more robotic in comparison, unfortunately for him. So, anyways, let's applaud them all. It's seriously, 47 days. It's so hard to imagine what headspace they're in after so long in what is a crazy game. They both did their best, but congrats to Miles. Congratulations.
Congrats. Miles. I think Miles, I think the self-deprecating thing is really important, and being able to articulate that when he sort of said about how, my personality, I have personality flaws and I go too crazy. So imagine those flaws when I'm not eating and haven't been slept, and they're just going to be way bigger. And I accept that. And that's was really hard for me in the game. The jury gets that. They love that. They love a little bit of self-deprecation. But I totally agree, Mark, that passion really came through and that love of the game. You get two lines that I really loved from Miles. One was, that Kalen basically he just glided through and then he survived all the way through. And the other one that I loved is that he played from the bottom with a smile. I thought that really summed up a lot of his game as well. He was always happy out there and he was always sort of loving being involved and being engaged. I think that really connected with the jury as well. So it's a really strong performance on that end, I think.
It feels like Miles's win has upped the season for a lot of people because it is such an amazing story. And I think Miles is really something of a fan favorite. So I think that has helped the season. I mean, you talk about representation, being so excited that you talk too much, that's my people. So the representation on that, I love that for Miles and really, really happy for Miles. Let's talk about AJ, because we did get questions from the listeners, many great questions, as said, about AJ. And a couple here, Josh Kettle says, how come Wu didn't choose Tony this time? Matt Benjamin says, what can a dominant strategic player like AJ do to actually make the final two? It seems so hard for him to get taken to the end by anyone. And I feel like this is something that's particularly important for Australian Survivor, where it's maybe going to be a final two, which we love. We love it. It's final two with this endurance challenge that's kind of this stable element of the show that you're going to have as this final challenge with really, really tough physical competitors. I mean, to look at the competition that AJ had just as merged competitors, it's hard to find a lot of people we think that he could beat. Now, the challenge was actually good for him from a height perspective, and he did really well, and he said he was throwing challenges as well. But even with that, the competition is actually really, really strong. And I know that on the recap yesterday, we had conversations around like how good a player is AJ if it's always going to be that hard, or something like a George as an example, it's always going to be that hard, or like even a Sari, it's always going to be that hard to get through a final challenge, especially in a final two, to get to the end when you're going to be such a clear, dominant strategic threat. Should you be less of a strategic threat? But then how do you get there? Is this like a fatal flaw, or is it good? Like Mark, as someone again who was also close to the end, a little bit of a different path, but like how do you see AJ's path, and how does one do this? What is the solution to this problem?
AJ played an incredible game. Like, it's incredible how well he did. And in my opinion, he did everything I don't think he should change his game based on the outcome of not winning. My view, and it's colored by my own experience, but I believe that final tribal council, yeah, okay, you're going up against like a world record breaking challenge beast. However, you just got to back yourself. I honestly believe that anyone can win the final challenge. And I don't know what it is when you're up on that wheel or you're on the pegs. You just
those really cheap pegs, yeah.
Those cheap little, pegs that,
angry
like,
pegs, I believe they're called. Angry.
Angry. Was that it from IKEA as well? Was that what that was? I don't know if it's like a new thing, but yeah.
They're like angry storage pegs.
They've got some crazy Scandinavian name.
Yeah.
Yeah, made from Sweden's finest pine. Yeah. No, I believe, my strong belief is put yourself in the position to win, and then die on the peg, and then you can only blame yourself. Like AJ can only, I'm sure that he can sleep well knowing that he had the chance to put himself there, right? Like it's much better. You didn't really get, like, you gave yourself every chance to win. He did extremely well. He could have won. Like I heard Shannon, you say, like, he could, like, Kaylin could have got a cramp, but also you don't really know what that final challenge is going to be. Yeah, okay, we've had a few pegs, but also like maybe it's like pain in the back or pain in a different part of the body. And for me, I just don't like pain in my feet, but I can take pain somewhere else, So you really don't I don't think you really know how. Everyone always says in the game, oh, this person's going to win this challenge or this person's going to win that challenge, and it rubs me up the wrong way, because I really think that, as AJ said, he threw all of those challenges. He was lowering his threat level in challenges. He's he's a strong guy. So I think you actually just got to back yourself in the final challenge and pray for the best. But notwithstanding that, AJ had the psychological warfare on the challenge. I actually think, again, that Kaylin's mum won Kaylin the challenge for him. I think her Lydia, that's it. Lydia. I'm going to take.
I was doing it yesterday.
Let me write that.
I've already sung Kaylin's mom this week. Yeah,
but like she was helping Kaylin combat the psychological, the psyops that AJ was throwing at Kaylin, because AJ was throwing it at him from all angles, and it almost worked. And then even at tribal council, like follow your heart thing, he did everything he could. So I think you got to give yourself the chance to win the final challenge and just win it, a la David Jeanette, or just throw everything at the wall. I don't think. I don't like the idea of playing the game with the idea of having someone take you to the end. I think you just got to go for it at the end and let the cards fall where they may. And obviously have insurance where you can. And AJ did that. So no notes. Like he had a crack, and it was so close.
I think Kaylin's mum really helped him. Unlike
Lydia,
friend,
Eden,
Lydia. Ollie was the other end of the spectrum, and he's like, people are saying, "Mate, are you going to help Miles out?" He's like, "Go, Miles."
He was not prepared. He was not prepared.
No, not at all. But my take is slightly different, because I actually think, AJ, you've got to identify the people who you're playing with. So to me, there are two sort of big things that AJ was looking at. One was, and he nearly did it. You saw how torn Kaylin was. He came this close to being chosen. And the way that he did that was, he did it the whole season. Every time Kaylin won, he was like, mate, he was building up this concept of challenges mean so much in this game. Oh my God, you're the record holder. Oh my God, no one's going to beat this. You are the king of challenges, mate. This is so good. He was, every moment of that game, he was dropping this concept that part of the game is much more important than it actually pans out to be, to the point of that Kaylin was actually feeling pretty confident going into Final Tribal Council, knowing knowing that he had such a big part of the game on lock. Honestly, he got so close to Kalen actually picking him. It is wild, and it's because he fed him that the whole time. And at the end of the day, you need someone to think that they can beat you, and he identified that in Kalen. That Kalen sees the game. He's not a super fan. He doesn't know the ins and outs of a lot of this stuff. So to him, if he's explaining him, oh mate, challenges. Like that's you're just unbeatable. This is so great. This is such a big part of your resume, and getting him to think like that, I think that's really important. The other way that you can actually do it, and we nearly saw it happen last season as well, is you create a connection with someone that is so strong that they feel as long as one of us wins, I'm okay. I guarantee you, Ray would have taken Ferris to the end, and Ferris would have beaten him. That's just something that could happen in those situations when you get that really, really strong connection. You get all the way to the end, and even look, as long as it's one of us. I know Morgan and Kate were just talking. Look, as long as one of us goes, we'll take each other to the end. That's the other way that you can make a really deep connection with someone that works. But it's all about the lay of the land. It's all about the people around you. But it is funny. Mark, you mentioned this concept of being taken to the end. And I think, again, this was something that AJ put out into the world, and it sort of started to take over the game. Everyone was talking about who's going to take me, who's going to take me. No one was talking about, I'm going to do this and I'm going to take this person to the end because this is what I want to do. And again, AJ did this a few times in the game. He did it with the hostages and making people throw challenges. He took over the concept of the game and guided it in terms of, oh, this is what this part of the game is about now. And he did it time and time again. And at the end game, it was very much who's going to take you to the end, who's going to take you. It's just interesting how he managed to do that all throughout the game. But yeah, they're the couple of things that I think someone like that could actually win.
Well, I'd like to kind of propose an opposite to that. I mean, I think, well, firstly, like for AJ's path, and again, I do think it's really tough because I do agree with you, Mark, that like, for me, there's nothing really that AJ can do. And when we compared it to like Kalen yesterday, for AJ, I think it's either like, it's a completely different path with people like the Lauras and the Karens of the world, maybe from like pre-Final 8, which AJ was talking about in the X interview. I feel like that's crazy from a relationship standpoint, from how far back ago that was. Like he got to, I thought, the end with the best people for him at every stage. I'm like, is this the exact group of people he would choose it? 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. I think yes, like the best physically at 3 to give him the best chance because Kalen was, I think, closer than anyone would have been to take him to the end, and I think was truly torn. Even the X interview was like, I knew I shouldn't, but I kind of like thought maybe I would. It was the head-heart debate, and I don't know that anyone else gives him even that. So I think he put himself in the best position. So it's like you radically change your entire path to the fact that you have to be a completely different human, and it probably doesn't go as well. Like I don't see another path for him, and I'm not criticizing that his path is a difficult one because I think that's the player he's going to be. I can't criticize like that, like the whole material of who he is as a possible player. Like if he's maximizing on that path to get him to the best possible point, I think I have to credit it, especially when so much about the path is good. As you're saying, so much control, so much impact to get like as far as he possibly can. It's something I'm going to credit compared to like a Kalen. I said at the time, Kalen needs to change massive parts of his path, but looking back at it now, what I think the issue is for me with Kalen is he actually only needs to change like medium parts of his path. Like he maybe beating Miles at the Final Four challenge, but also he thought he could beat Miles. So those are like, it's ways of reading the game that I'm criticizing, and it's not being able to capitalize on a path where I actually see how he wins. For me with AJ, I'm like, you just have to last longer in the challenge, and I can't really criticize it, and I can't even find another way for him. So I can't really criticize AJ on that. Whereas for Kalen, I do see possible other outs, and my criticism is that he's not able to take those outs. He doesn't see that he needs to take those outs. He thinks he can like beat Miles as an example. Like these are more fatal flaws for me to change it at the end to get to a point where from like a kind of a middle jury position, he could have sat next to someone to maybe win. And we'll talk about like what Kalen needs to do so that people see his game. It's all kind of redundant next to AJ and or Miles, you know, compared to other people. So I think that's the biggest thing for me. He doesn't necessarily know who he should be sitting next to. And if he does know it, which it doesn't seem like he fully knew it, he can't like capitalize on getting himself there. When I think that he like there are ways he maybe could have. Again, at 6 maybe taking out a Miles, at 5 maybe looking to take up an AJ. If he had the right intention, I think there are pathways. Whereas for AJ, I really can't see it unless it's like that far back with being a different human, and I can't really criticize that. But if it comes down to here, it's all on this final 3. Eden, you said he was like building up Kalen. I think maybe Kalen could beat both of them. And that's like the best case scenario. If Kalen's going to win the challenge, if I can beat both of them, may as well be JT. I get to take Steven, beat him anyway. Wonderful, have my cake and eat it too. What if it's the opposite though? And Mike kind of mentioned this yesterday with like Lil and Sandra. But what if we start getting a little honest? Like, Kalen, I'm going to be a juror. and I'm going to vote for Miles. And not because I'm mad at you. I respect Miles's game and I know this jury, and so do they. You can't beat me or Miles. You like Baden, you like Ken are choosing the winner tonight. Don't be like Baden and Ken, who go on to get 0 votes and make their best friend lose all the money. Like, yes, is Pierre a better choice for Baden than Harry? Is Adam a better choice than David? Yes, but it's still 0 votes combined. Don't do this when you are going to be a near unanimous loser. For both of us, you haven't played the game that the jury wants. And I'm telling you, as a friend, you're choosing the winner tonight. Is there anything there? It's a fun idea, I think.
No.
It's pretty brutal. I think that comes across as Shannon, you don't get the jury. You don't get what they're thinking, mate. You don't understand.
He didn't.
No, but that's what Kaylin is saying to you. But he could have.
Right,
In his heart, that is what he's thinking. He's like, AJ, no, I think you've got a bad read. I think you've got a bad read on the jury, AJ. No, I actually think they're going to respect this.
Go through each juror.
But dude, he thought
Where
he had a bunch of them. The thing is,
dispel that.
So many of them.
Shane Gould won Australian Survivor. Like
against
but they
Sean.
all thought. But
Sean screwed it up.
Sean screwed it up.
Like, that's not Miles and AJ. That's not Miles and AJ. Sean had enough there to
They thought that the jury hated Miles. They honestly, so many people, there were little things that happened throughout the season where, like, Logan said, I'm never going to vote for someone in the end that is willing to go to rocks. So she says that, and that sticks in Kaylin's mind. And he's like, oh, well, she hates AJ and Miles, so therefore that's my vote. So I've got Logan's vote. And he just went through and he really broke it down in terms of, no, I think I've got the majority of these votes because these people don't like Miles because of these little things. Little did he didn't realize how, in terms of this jury, they were reactive to moves and big things and strategy and people making decisions. And realistically, when you don't bring receipts, when you don't bring some really specific things that you can point your hand to and say, this is exactly what I did. And it's funny, in his exit interview, Kaylin talked about the Karen vote, about how he felt that he put it out there and then it sort of came back around, and then he had people telling him like, oh, we've got to get Karen. And he was like, this is perfect. It doesn't look like I'm doing it, but I did. And that was a really nice thing that he could maybe project and say to the jury, remember when we had this conversation, I was actually doing this, but he sort of missed a lot of that. So it didn't come through. Yeah. But I think your AJ truth bomb is not going to work, Shan.
Hey, okay. Firstly, I'm crediting my brother because I spoke to him on the phone about it. And I'm like, oh, that's like a fun idea. And now I'm throwing him
immediately in reverse.
I do think it is a fun idea because we
back it up, Shannon.
We do see. I think that, hey, if people want to credit him, I thought it was fun. I mean, it's very harsh. And I don't know that it works. I just think it's interesting that so many times we have people picking between their best friend and someone else and going on to get now, like, the 3 examples I'm giving, a combined 1 vote. And all they do is rob their best friend of now a combined, $1 million Australian dollars and $1 million US. And I just feel like, don't be that guy. Don't be the Ken. And I don't think that, and to be fair, like, it shouldn't work on Kaylin because at a final 2, anything can happen. And Miles did seem like he had things to exploit, and you want to be able to believe you can back yourself. And he did make the right decision, but it was a right decision between like 1% and like maybe like 3%, if that. And like that's the difference for AJ as a best friend. Like, it's just a little bit upsetting in that. But yeah.
Final comment from me on the final tribal council is that Kaylin's opening pitch, I was like, whoa, I was blown back in my seat. I thought it was incredible. I thought it was really, really good. And I think if he'd like really maxed out those lines, I think the jury was responding. Oh, who, as you say, Shannon, don't trust the jury faces. That's right.
No,
but I do think that they were. Oh my God! What?
I'm going to do that throughout this entire podcast. By the way,
please cut these reactions.
Yeah, cut the reactions. Yeah. Yeah. And smiling and the uplifting music. I'm going to put that in post as well.
Yeah, smizing. But Simon, friend, another great Queensland Survivor player, he messaged me during the tribal council, and to take a little meta here, he was saying if on Heroes versus Villains, if Matt had that approach that Kaylin had in the start of the tribal council, that was the pitch for Matt to win Heroes v Villains. So I think it's a thing where if you do that, you have to start strong, and then you just got to keep investing in that like big bold claim that you've taken the mask off, and you were doing this all along. So I think that's the only thing that he could have done, and I kind of think that he started off really well. So but anyway, but also again, you're still going against like Miles was, he was hitting some sixes there. So
like Shannon said, Miles has a better story, and you've really you really had to pull something out of the hat to beat that story.
Yeah. But I think the jury was open to it, so which is good.
There's open, but like open, like I think it might be like 10% maybe, but like that's still a tricky door to like try and pry open, even if like there's still some availability there. Like I still think if Kalen does everything right, I don't think he's beating Miles. I think it takes Kalen doing everything right and Miles absolutely bombing. Okay, that's how we kind of see it. If Miles, I think, just follows up on where he's at, I don't think Kalen can ever get to him. And I think that while we can criticize parts of it, it's just not like a great feat for him. But as you said, like I think he needed to be more extreme, more ruthless, not being like apologetic about it. It needed to be even like not like, oh, you were going to turn on me, not like, oh, but I'm still the person you thought I was. Like in ways, sure, like I love all you guys, obviously, but like in the game, I'm so radically different to what you think. And I asked him if he like brought up the JLP thing, like all of that. And as you said, the Karen vote, I said Logan yesterday, he was a death knell for Logan. He was a death knell for Karen, to the point where Kristen, they all came to the X interview saying, Kalen. Like I wish in the moment they would be able to see Kalen, because I feel like Kalen and AJ were the two names they gave. And without AJ there, I feel like he could have really won having to control that when Miles was more like fighting in a bit of a different spot. But I really do think it's about who he was sitting next to most of all, even with these deficiencies. I do think, where do we look at like, if this is the kind of really radical approach Kalen has to fence it that much, to be that subtle, to be that hidden. Firstly, I do think it necessitates a pretty extreme final tribal council to like counter that. Also, at what point, because we saw Andy do this, like in 47, right? Like he started trying to breadcrumb. When do we think that Kalen should have been? Was there any part that he could have been like showing this a little bit earlier, because he really like left the reveal to his opening pitch really here? What do you think?
Yeah, I reckon. Look, honestly, it was really hard for him because he made that decision for AJ and Miles to be those shields and take those arrows, and he made that really purposefully. But what you need to do, and I think he did it a couple of times. Like he leaked about who told Logan to play her idol, things like that. That he probably didn't really articulate and really say, this is the moment that I did this, or this is the point that I put something in play. But the other thing is, there were a lot of traps that the guys sort of left for him. Like one other thing was the Kristen vote, that they made Kalen, they knew that he was close to her, so they waited for him to say her name. They had already talked beforehand, AJ and Zara and stuff, and being like, this is who we want to get out, but let's just wait for him to bring it up and then we'll jump on it, because it seems like it comes from him. So then at Tribal Council, when he brings that up, they can turn around and be like, actually, no, we'd sort of set that up and we were just sort of waiting till you brought it up and then we jumped on it. So it was really hard for him to get to that point. The other thing that didn't help him, again, it's really hard to say this now, but the emotion that he showed getting rid of AJ, it meant that he couldn't even claim getting rid of AJ. Like you can't then turn around and be like, I slayed the beast and I got rid of AJ and everyone was loving AJ, because no, it nearly broke you in half to get rid of AJ, and showing that emotion and showing how hard that was for you. You can't own that move. You cannot own that sort of part of the game. And I think that was really detrimental to him. Whereas if he turns around and goes, AJ, this is a game, buddy, bang. And then like, I'll see you on the outside. That gives the jury a bit more like, oh man, Kalen just, he did the right thing. I don't know, that it's those sort of things that he needed to show the jury. And he needed to, at tribal councils, I think he needed to start pitching to the jury a bit more. You can sort of see Miles started to, probably the last 6 episodes or so, he started to use tribal council as a bit of a place to sort of monologue a little bit and say where he's coming from and what he's dealing with. Whereas I think Kalen really stuck to, yep, this is what we're doing tonight and this is okay. And I think he could have used those opportunities more to maybe project his game or how well he's doing. But again, in his head, he thought winning the challenges was such a huge part. Winning the challenges and getting on with people. Because one of the other things he said he would talk to people not about strategy, to give them a breath of fresh air so they would like him a bit more, and they weren't talking about the game, and he was connecting with them like that. But because he never talked about sort of the strategy or anything else in the game, people just didn't see that in him, and ultimately it sort of led to the end result at the end of the day.
Yeah. There's a video on Template that's like about this kind of dichotomy that Kaylin's putting out there. It was a recent video that they just put onto the extra scenes. And it was so extreme that he was like, they were like, he doesn't want to scratch at all. Like, it's really impressive how much of a comprehensive act that it was. But that's why you have to be even more radical in kind of now upending that act. And as you said, the AJ move only reinforced their idea of him. It's like, if he's even going to get rid of his best friend, it's going to be while weeping. Like, that's actually how we think he would do it. It's still shocking that he would get rid of AJ, but he's doing it while weeping. And like, of all the things he did, getting rid of AJ was the first truly surprising thing that pulls off the mask. Yeah. You don't need to wait until your opening pitch. This is pulling off the mask. It's like, none of you thought I would do this. I mean, I didn't think that Kaylin would cut AJ. I mean, I kind of wanted, honestly, for a while, but like when it got to the point where he stuck with AJ, I didn't think he would cut AJ. And I definitely against Miles, at that point, I didn't think he would cut AJ because I thought if he was going to do that, he would have started putting that stuff in motion beforehand. So at that point, I was really, really shocked that he did it. Be shocking, like be really strong with it, because now people are surprised, and now we start thinking, are you different than how we always thought? And then if you put it with like a great speech and you're like standing up and not like pulling them to the side, asking them for help, like this is your move, Kaylin. This is like your moment to pull off the mask, and you're like sheepishly kind of taking off the mask. Can you guys help me with this mask? Can you undo it at the back? You're like, no, Kaylin, this was the mask moment. But yeah, I mean, I still don't think there's anything there, but I certainly think that should have been a lot stronger. But that's the beauty of Kaylin, right? Like he's such a beautiful soul. That wasn't gonna be the thing. As a game player, though, like, big cross for Kaylin, but like, wow, what an incredible person. Like, wish him the best in life. What do you think, Mark? Was there anything there for him at any point to pull off the mask in a better way?
I think he just should have carried AJ over to JLP when he got his torch snuffed, and just like literally just carried him out of the set, being like, "Bye, I'm voting you off and I'm carrying you out." The only other thing that Kaylin could have done, I think, was he was the coconut opener, and every time he voted someone out, I think he should have had a bit where he just like had like a little coconut ready for them. He's like, "Oh, here's your last coconut," but like secretly he'd written in charcoal, like inside of the coconut, like, "This is why you're dead. This is why you're out. Like, I voted you out." And he's like, death coconuts. Yeah. And then they're like, because they're like, "Oh, so sweet. Kaylin's opened me a coconut." But actually, like, that was his killer moment,
Death Note.
Death Note. Yeah. Death Note. Yeah. Death Nut. That's it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so Death Nut is fine, but my brother's take that they should just tell him he's going to lose, that's insane. But Death Nut, that's where we're going.
Absolutely.
That's what we're saying, Shannon. Yeah. That's exactly. You've got it.
Yeah. Well done. Okay, so we're on Death Nuts. Well, let's kind of move along into let's talk about some kind of hashtag Death Nut. We're going to move into
Coconut Bandits.
Mark 2.
Death Nut Bandits. Yeah, I mean, okay, sure. Yeah. And maybe that, like, I think he should have been like, I was injuring people on purpose. So I thought we could have gone there, but that would have been.
Oh, wow.
How many people did you personally take out of this game?
Justice
Ben could have won this whole season. He was a big threat. He got more confessionals than a lot of people. Okay. Some macro questions. Ivan Vajoljak says, who do you see eventually returning from the season? Who are the major, I think obviously AJ and Miles. I think maybe those are like the free bingo square. Who else would you like to see return from the season? What do you think, Eden?
So there's obviously two different types of returnee seasons. You've got your all-star season, and then you've got something like a second chancey sort of one. So some people that I would just really like to see some more, like I think Noonan has still got a story to tell. I think she just didn't get that. I liked Laura as well. These people that just on the precipice of really getting some momentum. I think they're really fun. I don't think. Look, it's really hard because a lot of the Brawns got a pretty rough purple edit, so it's really hard to sort of say, "Oh, yeah, definitely this guy. I want to see more from this and this." Like PD apparently was unbelievably loved out there.
They're never bringing back PD, Eden. I don't know how to.
I know, but it's just there's these little stories. There's these little stories that you don't see. So I don't think any of the Brawns. Yeah, exactly. Represent Mark.
The White Lotus really started a really unfortunate narrative here.
Yeah. I like, and then AJ and Miles as well. I don't think Kaylin. I think Kaylin's story has sort of been told.
People would love to see Kaylin back. I've heard that so much in the last day because he learned so much. Even in the exit interview was like, I now
He
understand way
knows
more
the
about the
game.
game. I didn't have enough
This
time
is-
to research it.
This isn't Survivor School. This is like Survivor. We don't care about
this is-
learning here.
Well,
it's
some
not
people want to
learning.
see what that looks like.
Kate would be fun as well. I think Kate
They're not bringing
actually
Kate back.
started. I know, but I'm just saying.
I'm not saying they
she could
shouldn't.
be fun.
I'm not. Yeah.
Again, and that's another thing. Production wants that, and other people might want.
Well,
something else.
Eden,
Mark, what do you
Eden
think?
was texting me earlier today, and he was saying that he's expecting a returnee season of tall people versus short people, and so Eden's number one to go back.
It's an age-old battle between the tall and the short, and then we'll have like tall versus short too, like too tall, too short, or taller versus shorter.
Oh yeah. It's like
It's a
that
grudge
whole
match.
that
It's a
image of like
shorter,
evolution, like the monkeys, like everyone's getting taller. Yeah, and it's just like that's a bit weird.
I've got to come up with ways to get back in the game, Mark. That's the.
By being incredibly entertaining. That was I thought that's the way to get back in. But
maybe tall versus bald, Mark. That
just you can't be both. You can't be both.
I'm sure. Wait, what about Kent? Is Kent quite tall?
Look, I actually wouldn't mind seeing Kent again.
I don't know if Kent's that tall.
I don't think they were getting Kent back. I do wonder if we're getting like a Nash back because they've got like Tarzan, right?
But Zen,
maybe.
Zen.
Okay,
Zen
hold on.
back.
It's my turn. It's my turn.
Yeah, sorry, Mark. Sorry, Mark.
Sorry, I didn't realize we were getting a precursor to tall versus bald right now.
I'm done. I'm fine. No, look, I'm biased, but
don't say Candy, I swear to God.
Not Candy. Starts with K sound. Karen. I think Karen was like the huge, unashamed fan of Karen. So I think apart from AJ and Miles, it's like head and shoulders above the rest for Karen to come back. Logan's also got to be there.
That could be the
Logan.
tagline.
I forgot about Logan.
Logan. Definitely Logan.
It's got to be Karen.
Definitely Logan. Definitely Logan. Yeah.
No, I said it. I said it first. So back up.
You get the credit. You get the credit.
My God.
So Karen, Logan,
preview.
And Candy. Yeah. Thanks very much.
Okay. Well, insane.
What did you say? What did you want to see from Candy, Mark? This is interesting. You're a big Candy stan.
Oh, I just think so I've got written down here hand grenades, Kent and Nash. I just think that Kent and Nash were just absolute hand grenades for both tribes at the start of the game. Nash and his bloody idol. I don't want to see him back. And I think that Candy in any other season would have gotten into the groove. She would have found it. She was finding her people. She just needed to get through that first vote. And then I think there's just something about her, like the whole from Western Australia. She's a country chick. She's a rough and tumble sort of girl, but she's also got like the social experience of being in the modeling industry. Like it was just something about her. I loved her confessionals. I loved her bloody velvet pants. Everything about Candy, the hair, I just thought she was going to be great. And I'm just so sad that the way that she got voted out on that first episode was Kate and Morgan, and then the way that all panned out. So I think the whole season would have been so different thinking about the Brawn, how they were unsuccessful. I think that Candy was she was the like Sam, she was the glue girl.
Impossible that she was the glue. She was the first boot. Impossible.
Except for that. But if Nash hadn't done that, I think that she was. I think Candy's a person that's a lot of people would have been able to relate to, and she would have But I just think that with Nash, she just was so aggressive. I just don't think Candy was expecting it. So that's all.
Candy was a fan as well.
Big fan.
Big fan would have been great. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's it. I've said it all.
I don't know how to
season.
tell you this, but yeah, Candy's not coming back. Also, it should be Standy. Just by the way, for your one-person club. No offense, Candy. It's just impossible. It was 2 months ago, whatever. And also, Nash has such a good chance of coming back. I think. Let's look at this actually. Let's look at the confessional charts because we have questions about this. And
you're basing it just on confessionals, are you, Shan?
On who was a big character. I mean, look at Kate. Kate ends up getting 21 confessionals. That is less than Nash. Can I just say they didn't? We want Kate back. They didn't even show her in the season we got of her, so we're definitely not getting her in the second season.
Oh, I want post merge, not pre merge.
Right. Well,
Eden, you should want Jesse PD to come back. Who was the? I can't remember what number.
Why would I want them back, Mark?
Because that's where you came. That's
no.
I don't know
No,
where it
I
is.
came with PD. I was
Okay,
me
PD. Yeah, PD. Yeah, Justice for
PD's
PD.
not coming back.
I know,
Okay.
but he went out in the same spot as me.
He's tall.
He's bald.
What are you guys like? Why do you have like kinship with these things? Like these aren't groups that we're grouping people into. Even
You
on
don't hang
Australian
out with me,
Survivor.
Mark, enough, Shannon.
This isn't even like heroes, healers, hustlers level. But okay, firstly, great listener of the podcast, Matt Benjamin, did remind me that Ferris and I made a bet apparently on how many people would end up with fewer confessionals than Nash, and I said 5, and Ferris said 7, and apparently, like of the people left, it was 6. Which is crazy. Is it? Yeah, I think 6 overall. No, 6 people still. That's
24.
crazy.
That's outrageous.
It is
Yeah,
pretty
it's
crazy,
a lot.
isn't it?
It's more
the
than
purple-
Kristen. It's more than Kate. It's more than so
What's-
many people in the end game.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Big character, mate.
Yeah, I think Nash could come
How many
back.
did Kent come? How many did Kent get?
Candy got 2, which is actually the lowest.
No, Kent.
Oh, Kent. I thought you were talking about Candy because Mark is like always saying Kent got only 9.
She's rigging in her ears.
Yeah.
Kent,
I feel
Yeah.
like
Why don't I look at this before and then it's always so then I'm looking at it so small. I should look at the actual PowerPoint, just like not in the StreamYard.
yeah, it is really hard.
Yeah, it's really tiny for me. But yeah, Kent got 9. Zen got 9. So
There you go.
yeah,
Not-
but 24 for
You
Nash.
heard it here first. So what's the threshold? Is it a percentage of the season threshold that you can get asked back, Shannon? Or
What do you mean?
for how many confessionals? What's the line for you?
I want to know how
It's
many
not about-
Stevie Cow got in his first season.
It's not about well, firstly, yeah, I guess if Stevie comes back, kind of anyone could be asked back. I just think it's like the presence and the memory that someone has. And like, yeah, the Brawn tribe did not have a lot of impact. So it's like if I'm looking at like who might come back from the Brawn tribe, like obviously Paulie, Noonan, Nash.
Yeah.
That's literally it. That like he is third most likely from the Brawn tribe. Like that might be a low bar.
Yeah, that's
but I'm
right.
just like saying if you look at like a Tarzan, it's like he went in episode 4 as well. And he had an impact on the season. Clearly Nash did too. And I think people would remember that. So I actually think that it is, I mean, like, I'm not saying it's necessarily like a good thing, but I think that it's more likely of who I'd want to see, like, obviously, yeah, like we said it. Like a lot of the Coven, AJ Miles. I think that's what Paulie and Noonan.
Yep.
All the clearly best characters that we had
Logan.
through,
Yeah, Logan.
through this. Yeah, through this.
Logan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had some questions about the edit as well. I will remove this for now while we've looked at the confessional trials. We had questions about the edit. Tamar Kalia says, what do you think about the trade-off between having a super satisfying winners edit and showing the rest of the cast in their full glory? I felt the season was made flatter by Purple and Kaylin, withholding sympathetic content from AJ, probably to avoid fan disappointment at the end when Miles wins. The other extreme is what US Survivor does, like 44, when the main character was a sympathetic losing finalist. What's the sweet spot of mixing winner and non-winner content to make the perfect season? Because I do think, yes, a lot of the edit, I think, was, yeah, like, I felt like AJ was so egregiously losing finalists. Kaylin is obviously, you know, really purple throughout. To at a point, we were like, Kaylin can't win, which is so unfortunate because I thought he might be able to win, especially getting to that endgame. I wish I thought that of Kate as well. Even Zara, like, not great edits all around. It's just so strange to me because I feel like Miles' story spoke for itself. Like AJ could have had a very sympathetic edit and you still would have been really happy for Miles. So yeah, I mean, Mark, what did you think about the edit here? And like, how should they balance that when clearly a sympathetic winner edit is very important to Australian Survivor?
Yeah, I'm Team Australia here. I think
which is so weird because I feel like you were like a victim of that in some way.
I know. I'm a
Yeah.
sadist, you know. Like I do it for the game, Shannon.
Yeah, put it above yourself.
See, that's how hardcore I am. No. I think I like to enjoy a winner, even if it's not winner. And so that's I like to see that. I also think that I had a really good point here, which is so for this season, because one alliance got so far into the game, it was quite unusual and unique in that they had to sort of create some differentiation between AJ and Miles, whereas in other seasons, like I don't want to wear Titans v Rebels all the time, but yeah, like in Titans v Rebels, like we had like at that final 4, we had 2 and 2. And so I think that it is also dependent on like kind of how the game shakes down, you know, like I think in this one, I think they had to really sort of ramp up the differences, which meant that the AJ flaws were, were like particularly accentuated. So yeah, I'm happy with it. I just think Australian Survivor, I love the drama. Like we want to see the drama. We want to see the extremes, and give me extremes over like a sloppy average. So yeah.
What do you think, Eden?
I think there's room for some more stories, for some little stories in between, some little battles, some little narratives. Oh, these two had this thing, and I just think we can fall into the habit of, and it can just blow out. It becomes the Miles AJ edit. It becomes the Ferris and Kirby edit. Like it becomes so overpowering at some points that, like, why Kalen? Why did they show edits of Kalen in a couple of those group discussions where he would say, "Oh no, that's okay," and then AJ would go, "No, no, no, that means then one of us could go home because they have 4 votes." And he's like, "Oh yeah, that's right." They showed him saying sort of the wrong thing a few times.
Yeah, they
And I'm like,
misedited one of them, and I got it wrong, and then
yeah.
people were DMing me, and they were right to do it. That was
Well, there you
annoying.
go. And
Yeah.
it's like, if he's coming second, give him a little bit more of something, because it did become pretty obvious. I thought AJ, it became really apparent from AJ was going to be the fallen angel at some point, and
Yeah.
it does sort of spoil the game. But it's hard when you've got people leaving, you've got medivacs, you've got other things that sort of impact the overall narrative of the season, and it does shift things a little bit in terms of the edit. But I do think there's room for a few more people's stories to be told, and a few more interesting journeys. Like, you don't have to win to still have like a little journey in the game. And I know at the end of the day, they edit it backwards. They go, okay, what is the Miles story the entire way through? Okay, who's interacting with him, and let's tell that. But I just think there is a little bit of room. I agree. I don't want I need to feel good about the winner. I don't want to, out of the blue, like, hang on, how did that happen? I don't like that. I don't want to buy into that. So I still like the idea of an underdog winner, or someone against the odds, or someone's dominated the whole way through. I still need that, but I think there is room to tell some more stories.
Yeah. Well, the thing for me is, like, Miles is such a feel good winner. Like, if they won't trust the audience on Miles, like, they'll never trust the audience. And I want them to trust the audience. But then, like, I look at the Australian public and I think maybe they have a point. But also, like, every time I give credit, then I feel like, that's not necessarily what ends up happening with the public. But I do think that, like, the best case scenario is, like, really being heartbroken for a fallen angel, but then loving the winner, like Present Company included here. And I think that like, there's so many seasons where that's true. Like, even David, I was devastated for David, and I was happy for Adam. Like, we keep coming back to, like, the Millennials versus Gen X finale somehow. But yeah, I mean, that's best case scenario. Like, to make people feel that range of emotions in an hour and 10 minutes is wonderful. So I think the fact that you had, like, such a strong player in AJ that was heartbreaking, and the fact that Kayla didn't choose him was, like, one of the moments of the season we can talk about it. But then Miles is such a good feel-good winner, and it almost speaks for itself, and you can still build that up. It's, like, to me, a little bit unforgivable that Kaylin wasn't built up, Kate, further on, and yeah, that AJ didn't have a more sympathetic edit that evened them up, because it was going to feel so good with Miles. So, like, yeah, I want them to trust the audience, but if they didn't do it here, they never will. And, like, the edit to me was, like, so egregious. It was so obvious to me, and that does take away from the season a little bit, even though the story was so good. Yeah.
Can I say that though? Hear what you're saying. Don't disagree. But also, like, the Coven, like, got, like, a pretty good, like, sub story, and sub, like, SUB, not sob story, sub story.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
Like,
we even got that, like, to be fair.
And that was quite complex. Like, we had, the
Yeah.
VBs, like, we had, like, Rich. Also, like, I really liked watching Rich on this season. I think he was, like, a great, an unexpected Dave Husey-esque, character, which is, like, not quite unusual on Australian Survivor. So yeah, I thought that was quite cool. And then, like, Ali popping off, like, little trumpet mouth, and understanding, like, we understood the establishment of the Coven and then why it failed, and I think
that was good.
like quite interesting.
That is true
as well. And then we also had, like, we kind of understood why, like, was it the Hunks alliance never worked? Like, we kind of got that. Was it Hunks?
It was the Hunks.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So, so then, like, so I think that they are just, it's more, I think we're arguing about, like, how many subplots can we have? Like Zara, I think Zara's story was potentially undertold.
Yeah.
And that's,
I agree.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, I agree
think
with that.
There were actually some good sub stories in this. Like, it's, like, compared to, like, obviously US Survival. US Survival will give you an interaction with people who, like, will never talk again, but this doesn't do it enough. And I do feel like Yeah, I do feel like it should do it more, but I think that there were good stories. It was just when a lot of the Coven went home early merge, it was like, well, now we're really just left with like Miles and AJ, and then AJ had like the negative parts of his edit, so it was like now I'm just like starting to cross people off. Compared to like at the beginning of the merge, we had like a lot of contenders.
Yeah,
I definitely feel
exciting.
like
It was
most
so
of the
exciting.
Coven, other than Zara, who deserved more, but like they were all. Paulie was an option until he started getting like montaged over in his story in terms of like the way people were viewing him. But like coming into the merge, I think Paulie, Laura, Logan, Karen, Miles, AJ from like a pure edit perspective were like all options, and then they just started like falling like dominoes, and it was like, are we just left with Miles? And then like we were, and I think
if we had some of those early merge boots sort of flipped with maybe your Morgans and things like that, and they were sort of closer to the end, God, that game opens up. That is,
exactly.
It's wild at that point of the game in terms of everything how the pieces can fall. It was
my notes I've got Logan and Karen v AJ, the threat that could have been. Like I think that Logan and Karen were the people that could have sniped AJ, but they just couldn't sort their stuff out. Yeah. But they also didn't they couldn't sort their own their own
100%
stuff out. So
I still blame Logan for that, for Karen going.
Oh, absolutely. I love Karen. What was your favorite what were your favorite moves of the what were your favorite moments of the season? Because that's what I like to think back on the season.
Well, something I want to start doing as well is we talked about defining moments in the last Summer of Survivor. We did it for all global seasons, and I love doing that. It just settled something in my super fan soul, and I'd love to think about. Mike and I had kind of talked about it. I'd love to think about what the defining moment of this season might be. It's annoying me now that we didn't do it for 47, but I do think that the defining moment is something that it's usually connected to a winner story, the overall kind of theme of the season, and what defines the essence of the season. So 47, maybe Rachel playing the idol feels like it's a big moment. While again, Operation Italy is a big moment, does it define the season? No, it doesn't define her. It doesn't need to define the winner story, but it's good if it does. Anyway, let's talk about big moments, and then let's try and think about defining moments. But I've usurped the question, so I can only apologize for that. Yeah.
Well, I think you should answer it because I asked it, Shannon.
Yeah, what the big moments are, what the defining moments are.
As you wish. I've got one cocked and ready, but
I've got a couple. I've got a couple.
Okay, I'll answer. The two defining, because we said the defining moment might be
Candy going home.
Yeah, Candy going home, which no one else in Australia remembers. No, the defining moment, I think we were always looking at Miles picking up the idol and saying, let's go pricks. And I do think that's one of the best moments of the season. I think it's quite possibly defining. It certainly defines a lot of Miles's journey. It definitely is idol journey. Mark is not enjoying this. He's literally shaking his head at me, but it's a great option. Okay, I'm giving you other options. I think that's a great option. Okay. The other one, I think what it could be, I think we have a late contender. Kaylin pulling them aside. The fact that it was the story of these three guys, AJ getting cut in that moment, but the way that Kaylin did it to lead to the Miles win, Mark is also hating this. I feel like I'm failing a test I didn't know I was taking. Those to me are the two defining moment options. Other big moments, I think that where the graduates are formed and Ali goes home is a big and possibly defining moment. Given Mark is still shaking his head, what is it? God damn it! So I think that they're panicking now. That's going to lead to a postgraduate Final Four. I think that's a big moment. I love that moment. I think Max going home, not a defining moment, but was a really exciting and fun moment. What is the answer, Mark? What is the answer to this question? I thought it was subjective, but it's not, and I want to know just why I'm wrong.
Well, when Eden started saying which players are going to come back, and you were like, "No, that's never going to happen." So I feel like I was just giving one back for Eden.
Wow, I'm awful. I understand now. I've tasted my medicine, and it is bitter. I don't.
No. Everyone is right to their opinion. That's fine. But the correct answer is when. So I believe that it is, in my humble opinion, it is when AJ and Miles stood down the other players and went to rocks. And they were like, no. But because it is an AJ and Miles, I think that AJ needs to be involved in a really critical way of this move. And they both did it. And then they absolutely destroyed, was it Kristen, Morgan, and Kate? They exploited that they didn't know the rules. And they threw down that they were so out there, so wild that they were going to go to rocks. But then also AJ talked them down off the ledge to say, he exposed how they could still play with Kate, they could still play with Morgan, they could still play with Kristen, and then Logan, who was such a key player in that moment went home. And I think for me, that was like the moment where the game changed. Like that was it. Like that was the chance, and that was like where the game was won for either AJ or Miles. In my
I was
opinion.
throwing tribal council reactions at you through that, by the way, just so that people. But I am shake man. No, I do think that could be defining. I don't think it's the best moment. If anything, I think it was a bit of a letdown from the rocks that they kept promising people. But I think as a defining moment,
I've watched Ferris and Kirby like star for the entire 24 episodes on social media. I ignore that. Like in terms of the actual defining point in the game.
Well, I think that it was a defining moment. If it defined the tenor of the season, to me, it's negative, and I enjoyed the season. What it then defines, I do agree, is the AJ Miles steamroll that a lot of this post-merge was. And like I think we can get a little bit more fun. And like Miles finding the idol in the challenge is like also it's the whole throwing challenge storyline, which was such a big part of the season, and I think a really fun part of the season. Like that's Miles' story at its best and most compelling. Them winning the rocks discussion, like yes, it defines the steamroll, and it definitely defines like the season of half measures. But those are like two of the more like mid elements of the season that I think this season, you know, the sum of its parts ends up being better than that. So like while I do agree that it defines parts of it, I feel like that's the negative. But Eden, do you, like which of us? Why are we both wrong? What please?
Okay, now
step in to tell us
the professor will come in now with what actually was the best sliding doors moment, impactful moment. And I'll tell you exactly why. Now, you did touch on it a little bit. The moment is actually the vote where Ali goes home.
So I love that vote. I love that vote.
So this is what it is. Okay, so this is Max using his safety without power incorrectly. Okay, so he uses this correctly, and he saves AJ. He sends away AJ, and he sends her in Karen.
No,
Miles
Karen and
goes
Laura,
home.
I think.
No, that's who he sent home. But I'm saying he should have sent home.
Oh, right.
If he changes that, Miles goes home then. Miles goes home, and this entire game is totally different. And the thing is, Max wanted to send home Miles as well. So there's a few things that happen here. The other part of this is
he's so annoying.
This is the formation of the graduates. So remember, this is the vote that the graduates finally make their play. Zara pretends, oh, I cooked it. Oh, sorry, I voted the wrong way, and it all fell apart. But little did they know that there was this other alliance that had just formed under their noses and was going to take apart this entire game. This vote, to me, it has the misplay of Max, which there were a lot of misplays in this season. There were a lot of people thinking they were doing the right thing. There were big characters going in the wrong direction. This has the graduates forming underground. This has Ali like totally being blindsided and taking the wind out from under her. This is everything about this season, and this sets up so many aspects of the game for me that encapsulates this entire
great option. It's a great option. But the complexities you speak to, like, I mean, I do, and I love that vote. I think there's a lot of really entertaining stuff there, and I do think that the graduates are important, but I feel like the complexity of that almost takes away from how defining it is. Like, defining needs to be like so concrete and clear. Like, what's the image of the season? That's another thing that we've always said about defining. What's the image of the season? Miles picking up that idol, another time where he would have gone home, by the way. There's a lot of that for Miles to be. There's a lot of sliding door moments where Miles was meant to go home. Miles picking it up and saying, let's go, pricks. Iconic.
I think okay, if it's the what did you say, defining or what? Remember,
defining.
I think it's Miles standing on the spaghetti. With the meatballs and Jesse and his
Miles loses at that.
There was a couple of good images.
He doesn't find the idol and then the shelf, and then it's the shelter.
Looking at the shelf.
It's kind of like Miles is up, he's down, he's kind of doing crazy things. He's stepping on spaghetti and like linguine, you know, like
in terms of images though, like there were some strong images that one of Paulie like being crucified on that thing, that was like, it doesn't encapsulate the season or anything, but it was just a really striking image that you sort of see. The other one that I really so just one more thing, Mark. I think another point that really had sort of ripple effects throughout the season was that one where AJ pretends that he's voting against Miles, tells Miles to use his idol, and then flips over and gets rid of PD, and Paulie stays in the game. So for me, that moment, it was this really nice moment between Miles and AJ. They had a separate plan to everyone else. They then pretended they were on sort of opposite sides, and that sort of hid them working together quite nicely. They even talked. They said, we cannot talk for the next couple of days because we're going to play this out. And then from these exit interviews, everyone had PD in their strat.
Yeah.
Everyone
He's coming
wanted
back as well.
so many people. I know, we know he's bald. Everyone had thought about using him in some way, with him and Kristen being a sort of a like Logan and Laura had talked about using them. A couple of the other guys had talked about using them. So then for Miles to take that piece off the game board, I think that was another really defining point.
Yeah. There's a lot of good moments in this season. Can we just say, like, this is all really fun. I do think that the PD move is definitely one of the biggest moments of the season, and certainly possibly defining in that it's a Miles AJ chaotic move. Certainly the chaos of Miles and AJ, which is so much the story of the season, it could definitely be that. We know that the move was way, way better, like, than the edit showed, than at least I got in hindsight, as much as other people might have seen it at the time. So I do think, like, looking back at that move now, it set up their power that they're going to have again through large parts of the merge. So yeah, I think that that's up there as well. I really do think it's Let's Go Pricks, but I am willing to concede on the Graduates form to take out Ali, which is such a good episode as well. Like that stretch. That was
fun.
Through,
it's really
like
fun.
through the kind of from it was even the episode before where like when Rich goes over, like I feel like that stretch into the swap, into the challenge throwing, all of that. I do think that the challenge with Let's Go Pricks is like my favorite challenge of all time. It's still that for me, but like if we have to come to a consensus, I will go to the alley vote. Mark, do you have another one that you?
No. I just want to say, okay, favorite challenge. My favorite challenge was Ursula v Karen on the wrestle that went non-stop, and they were. I thought that brought it. That was something about that battle. Like I know you two are like sort of yada 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 like the challenges, but
yeah, no, I don't care.
I saw you. I saw that look in your eye. You're like,
I like challenges.
But that was cool. That was so cool, and I really thought that was like, I don't know what it was about that challenge that I just really, really liked. The close second was Noonan absolutely steamrolling Karen on that tackle. It was so good. That was good.
I don't remember that happening, and I covered the season, every episode of it.
You don't remember that? Oh.
I really don't. What episode?
Or Zara getting water tortured, getting very vice president of the PTA when the water shot on her head. That was great.
The Let's Go Pricks challenge is my favorite challenge, I think, of all time in any season.
Really?
I think so. What
sorry, Shannon. We're just getting this in. You're wrong. Yep, you're wrong.
give me the other alternatives. I will debate for that all day, every day. The amount of storylines that were in that challenge, the fact, and especially that it connects to Miles' winner story, the fact that they were showing the challenge to vote out Miles, and the idol is given to him by God's hand, and then they're like, oh shit, and they actually start coming back. Was crazy. It was part of all of the hostage taking, the challenge throwing. It was part the idol and the challenge was such a fun mechanism. There was so much going on there. The fact that then like that Kristen is outed as finding the idol, like so much going on in a challenge. What is it against? What's the other best challenge of all time? I don't even know, because I've never thought about it before, because I don't care.
Look, honestly, I think you're conflating two different things. You're conflating like something happening, like it's because the game is still happening in the challenge. That's why you like it, Shannon. Because the game is still happening in the challenge.
Yes.
I can out argue Shannon at her own game here. Okay. I think she would say Survivor Palau, Ian, and Tom.
Yeah,
I think I think that would outgun Shannon on her own logic.
Really love this challenge. This challenge has everything. This has everything from a narrative perspective. It has everything from a game perspective. The challenge design is so fun. There was a lot of like, also the other challenge I love when like Ali had to make the fire and they're all waiting on her. Like that challenge design was really fun. The challenges were so good in the season. But
the challenge design for that idol one, really, was it that good? It was
because they put the idol into it.
Yeah, okay, so that's
as a concept was so fun, because again, I care about the game. If someone wants to give me other options in the comments about like, you know, what the other options are for like best challenge segment ever, I'm open to hearing it. I know Heroes versus Villains had a lot of fun stuff as well, but like I think this is number one for me. I loved it. But anyway, I'm going to agree with Eden then on the Graduates for me to take out Ali on Defining Moment.
I'll go with that. That was fun. I also liked the Max's jumper when he was wearing that at that tribal council. It was quite striking, and the face, it looked good.
Yeah,
it brought out
you remember
his eyes.
things I don't.
Oh yeah, I'm a guy for detail. Yeah,
I can see that. Okay, well let's go macro, not detail. People want to know. Let's see We have questions. Emily Wallstrom says, how does Miles work in the winner rankings? Oh, let's argue about this. Okay, give your rankings. Eden, do you want to give your rankings first and where Miles fits into it?
So how are we going to do this?
This is win games.
No, but are we listing every single winner, or
yeah, do it?
We just.
I know it's arbitrary and reductive, but
it is quite arbitrary and it is quite reductive. Look, because he wasn't in control the whole time. Like, I don't know. It was a fun. I'm not going to rank every single one. I'm going to put it. It's nearer the top for me than say
really standing on business.
Shane Gould.
Better than Shane Gould. You heard it here first. Now we have some hot takes here on Survivor Global Feedback Show.
Wow.
Yeah.
These takes
better than Shane Gould.
What
about
whose is
Ferris?
it?
That's a way more interesting.
Ferris is better.
Ferris
is better. Ferris is better.
I agree. I think that Miles, and now that we talked about how many times Miles almost went home, I'm like, that is kind of bumping it a little bit for me.
I think it's better. I think again, is it fun or is it?
No, not fun. What do you think we're doing? Your best winners.
Yeah, but some of the best winners are fun winners as well.
Yeah, but that's separate to this. That's a whole different,
Who's
paradigm.
Better? Who's better than Miles? Go. Haley.
Who's better?
Yes or no?
Haley's is better. David's is better.
Is Mark better?
Ferris is better. Liz is not better. Mark is not better.
Mark is not better? I would mark quite high.
No, I'm just going to go to sleep when that.
But it's not about it being fun. Was it good? That's the question.
No, Miles's win is better than Mark's.
Because you
enjoyed Miles
it.
Didn't have Miles didn't have his wife there.
That is true. That is
throwing her game away.
He didn't have Ollie there. If Ollie was there, it would have been even better.
Imagine, he would have done much worse if Ollie was out there.
AJ and Miles.
Let's go, Pricks and Ollie.
Yeah. I mean, he did have AJ though.
Yeah, but AJ's not his
Chrissy Bennett.
Throwing a game.
AJ better or worse than Chrissy Bennett?
Ooh, that's a good one.
What?
Hey, are they the same? Are they the same?
It's a question. We're doing this
question. Hang on, are they the same? I was trying to look up the youngest winner of all time, and it came down to those two, and it said they were both
in Australia.
I think it's Miles.
Yeah, I'm talking about Australia right now.
Oh.
Is that?
Yeah, Miles is so young.
Yeah, are they? Who's actually younger? Is it Miles or is it Chrissy? Because they were both. It said that both they were 24 when I looked it up.
I saw it on the internet. The internet's told me it was Miles, so therefore it's true. It was probably on.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine.
So therefore it's true. Yeah.
Okay. Rankings are crazy. I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to give my whole order right now.
That does not surprise me
Shannon,
in the least, Shannon.
But I'm shuffling things around.
Spreadsheets.
Sam did a lot.
Spreadsheets at Ferris read. Spreadsheets at Ferris won't read.
Sam and Mark did do cool things with the blood versus water theme, but I feel like Sam did a lot of the heavy lifting. Mark did do good stuff. I'm really between Mark and
I think
Miles.
Zen's going to make a rap out of that. Mark did do good stuff.
Yeah. Mark did do good stuff. Mark did do good stuff. But a lot was on his wife, and anyway, whatever. Okay. I'm really between.
Cut the mic.
Yeah, put down the mic, bro. Is actually where that. Come on, Eden. You're the quote man. Are you joking? Cut the mic. Okay. David, Haley, Gap, Ferris.
Whoa.
Mark, Miles. Oh my god, I don't know because they're such different games. Like Mark is so kind of dominant, but Miles has flashy bigger wins, which is kind of like the Miles story. Miles, Mark. I don't know.
Miles is above Mark.
Okay, Miles, Mark.
This is your conscience speaking.
Then I'm always between Jericho, Pia, Gap, Shane, Christy.
Well, I like that you emphasize I actually don't know how I feel about you emphasizing a gap.
I think it's important. I think it's clear tiers. It's a tier gap.
You keep digging and then there's a gap. 50 foot of shit. And then
you don't know if Miles is better than Christy.
I'm sorry.
You don't know if Miles is better than Christy. That's crazy. Are you lying about that?
No, who's to know, Shannon?
Well,
Mark, what are your rankings?
Been terrible at this question. Yeah, Mark, give it, and we'll give the tiers. Not just the tiers you're making me cry, like the TIER.
No gaps included.
No, include the gaps. It's my podcast. I tell you when gaps are in.
I think David, Haley, Ferris, Miles, no gaps. And then
that's kind of what I said.
Yeah. I know, but I didn't say gaps. That's I expressly said no gaps.
I'm denied about Mark for about
no. So actually, I would go Ferris above Haley. Okay, Ferris. I put as someone who saw Ferris's game, 46 days. I go Ferris, Haley. I actually really like Jericho. But
I'm higher on Jericho than most.
Yeah. I go Jericho, Miles. I think Miles.
Miles. Oh, that's too high.
Jericho above Miles.
Yeah, I'm really high on Jericho. Yeah.
Wow, you are.
Yeah. And then the rest.
Your opinions, Mark.
And then the rest. Mark, then Mark,
Pia,
then Pia, then Christy, then Shane Gould.
Okay. Not so okay. Okay, we're kind of in a similar place with that. That was really painful. We're going to do this now for the seasons because we have to.
No, we can't.
The seasons are actually a lot easier.
I actually hate lists in general, so that was really painful for me to do that.
Yeah,
so,
this is
you look like you were in physical pain, which is always what you want from a podcast guest. To really see. No, but I actually do think that the season is really easy to rank. Like you don't have to rank all the seasons, but it's like there's such clear high bars, and like the top half is like so clearly like Titans, Rebels, Heroes, Villains, 2017, 2019, and Brains V Brawn 1. Like, it's not better than that, but it's not as bad as, like, All-Stars, Blood vs. Water 2016. Like, there's clearly two in the middle, and it's 2018 and this one, and I don't know what's better, but I think I put this one higher, and I feel like that's really easy for me. That was painless.
That's my opinion on that to you. Thank you, Shannon.
Eden, do you have a strong opinion on this?
No, like you've really nailed it, Shannon. You've really nailed that answer. I think you've really come to.
What is happening? What am I doing wrong?
I don't like lists. I don't ever like lists. That's it.
Okay, well, we were here to rank things. I told you we'd be ranking things.
Okay, what about alliance names? Let's
the crazy thing is that you'll allow me to give my tier list with gaps of all the winners and then be like, I don't like ranking. Okay. All right. Sure. All right. Okay. Yeah, let's do. You wanted to rank alliance names?
Let's go. What was your favorite alliance name? So we had the graduates and the postgraduates. We had the hunks. We had the mega alliance. We had Girls Gone Wild. We had the Coven, and we had
Jesse.
We had the yes. Oh yeah, Jesse. And then we had the Berries
and Bomb Squad.
Oh, Bomb Squad. Sorry, yeah, and Bomb Squad. Yeah, I forgot Bomb Squad.
And the Berries were nothing, and every single time I talked about that cranberry juice, it was Frankenbitten. Every time. So odd.
The Berries was no good. I think the Coven is up there for me. I think the theming of the Coven, I said this all season, an alliance that you can theme things around is golden, and you can talk it through. And I think it just really hit that sweet spot for me.
There should be more Coven merch than there currently is. Is there any? Huge missed opportunity.
No Coven merch. No.
Huge missed opportunity. People would be buying it in droves. Twitter alone. You guys can take that for
Coven
free.
is the final four. That imagine that.
What would Parvati and Shawnee's alliance name be on Australia?
Parvati and Shawnee.
Coven.
Is it just mother?
Just mother. The mother. Well, it's true. They are. I did think they would bond over recent, like going on a Survivor after having recently had kids. Like Parvati didn't win at war, and Shawnee is now. So maybe the mothers actually does make a lot of sense. Just logically.
No, it's just mother. Drop the
it's just mother.
It's
just mother.
It's cleaner, Mark. It's cleaner. Thank you
just drop the. I like the Graduates Alliance name. I love the Graduates Alliance. And I think what's really fun about the Graduates Alliance is like makes you feel smart supporting it. You're like, I am smart and they are smart. And it works with the fact that they were the brains and that the brains did so well. So I think
and
it
evolved.
Good. I mean,
it evolved into the postgraduates. I like anything we talked about it on my podcast. It was the Pokemon evolution of alliance names. I really like that.
And then what's
the name of your podcast?
It's Survivor Debrief, Mark. You can check it out on. Just slip that in there. Good sense. See, that's why we work so well together.
Is the third evolution like they could have gone? Like they could have kept going because there's so much.
Yeah, and then they become Blastoise.
Yeah. That's the third one. It is a crime, and I asked Miles if there was no Kaylin, AJ, Miles alliance name.
Oh, yes.
It's genuinely painful. Because it was just like,
any
again,
ideas?
So important. Without Play Out Last. That's what I've been saying the whole season. It doesn't roll off the tongue, but it is a good alliance name. It doesn't roll off the tongue. No, it doesn't. Thank you so much.
Production would have been like, can you try that again, please?
I love how much you guys are loving what I'm putting down.
You got to call it the Triple O alliance or something like that. Like a merged breed. Triple O.
Okay.
Triple threat was up there. Oh, what about? I've got a couple. What about 2.5 Men? That's
what? No, what?
Charlie Sheen making a comeback.
Charlie Sheen,
There's
AJ's
so
Charlie
many
Sheen.
reasons. No.
Yeah, that's wrong. That's wrong, but I'm glad he said it even.
I know. The other one that I thought, the Rice Bubble Alliance. You got Snap, Crackle, and Pop. I thought that was quite good.
Oh, okay.
I like that.
I like that.
Yeah.
What about the Powerpuff Boys?
The Powerpuff Boys.
Ooh.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's good as well.
Yeah, we've had the California Girls for guys. Maybe, I don't know. I should be used to naming trios after the whole season that I've had of my recappers, but I think the Triple O Alliance is wonderful. I think that's great.
That's it.
Triple O is better than... Yeah.
But the Americans on the listening need to know that 911 in Australia, we don't call 911, we call it 000. So yeah, just a little.
See, this is great.
Infomercial.
This is how alliance names work. When you all work together, we come together and we find the ultimate one. So I think the Triple O Alliance is good.
So is that what happened with the Middle Age Mafia? Like someone put out something and then you guys were like, no, that's terrible. Leave the podcast. You're awful. We're voting you out for that. And then you came to the workshop Middle Age Mafia.
Were you out there? Were you, Shannon?
Your social games are so on point. Like, how did you guys not win? It's just actually happening.
It's called pegs. So anyway, what I wanted to say, Shannon, when you said that you said that you felt good you felt smart when you were like, I like the graduates and then postgraduates.
Yes.
That's great for you. I'm like a worse human being because when I heard the bomb squad for all those guys, I was like, haha, I wouldn't be a part of that. And it made me feel superior to the people that were in the bomb squad. And so for that reason, I liked the bomb squad. And I liked watching Rich on my TV. I think the next season of Australian Survivor should be captain's pick, Karen versus Rich. They each get to pick like their team, and I just want to see Karen and Rich go at it on Australian Survivor because I think that was like some of my favorite TV. I'm just putting it out there. Please, producers, can you make that happen?
I don't know that that's better than Talls versus Bolds, but it's something.
Talls versus Bolds.
What about captain's pick in general? Like, if you could have a captain's pick season, like, would you like that? Yeah, and it's like the tall people pick the tall people. I don't know.
No.
Captain's pick interesting,
no,
but
it's
like if you had 24 players and then there was like, like David and I don't know, Haley, and then they like pick their teams. That would be interesting.
Yeah, that could be fun.
And then two people like sailed off. Like, what was that season when they went on the boat?
Wanda.
That lady was singing.
Yeah. Palau.
Yeah.
Second that Palau lady. How dare you? Her name was Wanda.
That lady. Yeah.
Okay. Same as Lydia. Okay. Call these women by their names. It's important.
I'm sorry. I
love that movie.
Loved ones are not canon. I only need to know players' names.
I completely agree. I mean, what were Miles and AJ's friends' name? I don't remember their names.
Ollie and Nabil.
I didn't remember Lydia either. It was only because I kept saying Kaylin's mom yesterday that they kept saying Lydia. I don't have a good memory, but I'm like, I meet you, I greet you, and you're out the door. Like you're here for like a short stay. So
no one was like Sass wearing a Shawnee dress, like like Sass did, which went like, viral. So yeah,
Sass was the best of all the loved ones. I remembered Sass, but that's because we DM sometimes. That wasn't really as much, but I was excited to see her out there. Okay, a couple of things that hopefully we won't have to argue about as much. Okay, Sean Smith says, apparently the final tribal council tie solution was a rock draw. What could be a better solution? Now, Miles talked about this in an interview with Chatter, and I just want to talk about it because what he said that the jury, if they couldn't come to a solution, would draw rocks, and if you get the rock, you leave, and then it's like you don't want to lose your jury vote. And the reason that that's so silly is because in regular rocks, it's like you might go home. But here it's like you're going to lose your jury vote, which only would mean that your person wouldn't win. But if you're going to change over, then your person's not going to win regardless. So why at that point would you not just allow for your jury vote to maybe go rather than changing to the other option anyway? If this is a solution that the jury draws rocks, I really don't like it because how would that be a win? How would that be the rock deciding?
The concept of it, the concept of it is just a random chance. It's not about people changing their votes. That it doesn't make sense. You're right. Like that, there's no consequence for that because your vote is gone anyway. But it is just a way to just randomize the point. But then at that point, do you go to fire or do you do something else? Like it seems crazy.
They might as well earn it at that point.
It's like a rock draw. That's like, okay, you randomly win. Mark, do you have a better idea?
They might as well make Miles and AJ at the point if they win the final two tying. draw a rock for the win. If they're going to do it with the jury, it's kind of the same thing. Mark?
You're both wrong. What they would have done,
okay.
I actually heard this, is that they were going to recreate that challenge where Noonan ran over the top of Karen on the net.
When?
And then every single jury member had to run at Kaylin, and it was just dependent on who Kaylin like injured. And then like as many people that Kaylin could injure, like they just got taken off the jury. And then it was like a little gift to Kaylin to try and like get an odd number. And then that's how they were going to resolve it.
And that's genius. I did
it.
not know that.
Yeah, as a great man once said, we fight for it. Like that's literally what you're kind of, putting out there. We had a final. We had an 8-person jury, and we're still not any closer to solving this issue. I think
you just I think they just get the phone out, text Morgan, and go, "Hey,
yeah,
mate,
that's what I said.
Yes. Which way do you vote?" And she just texts back, and then GLP just holds it up and goes, "Yep, you win,
the whole the text vote."
Yeah, it just holds it up. Yeah.
She would be like, "Well, what did they say at Final Tribal Council?" Be like, "Let me send you a couple
Kate.
audio notes." Yeah.
You haven't been watching this season, have you? No.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we are no closer. But the rock thing really makes no sense at all. So that's not a good solution. Nico Stoko says, "What's your take on the change in production that was announced recently? For the people who don't know, David Forster has announced that he's the EP. So for the people who don't know, he's the EP. So let's start there. He was on this podcast last year. Yeah, and an EP means executive producer. We're going back. He was on this podcast. He's produced Heroes versus Villains after being part of the show for a long time. He was the EP for Heroes Villains, Titans v Rebels, Brains V Brawn II, and I think Australian v World. So that's an impressive run.
No, he wasn't. Jen. No,
he wasn't.
He wasn't. No.
I thought he was.
No.
Not the EP.
Oh, but he was part of it.
He was part of it.
Yeah.
And now he's moving on completely. I should really know the things that are happening in the news that I'm bringing. Okay, well, that's
facts,
upsetting because I don't know. The new person better be good because I was like, I trust DF a lot. Like, I feel like these have been 3 really good seasons. Like, I think that this is like, again, like Heroes vs Villains and Titles v Rebels back to back. I've said it's like the best like 1-2 punch in global Survivor history. Very impressive like start to the run there, and I also really like this season. So I mean, you guys played on a season he produced, so like what do you think this means for like the future of Survivor? What do you think, Eden?
Okay, so the thing is the things that the EP can really impact is the overall. So obviously the first one is casting, and I feel like the casting has been really strong. There's been some really interesting characters, especially in Titans versus Rebels. I thought
Present company included, yes.
Correct. I think there was a really good balance between game players, game bots, people that never seen the show before, different people in different parts of their life as well. I thought that was really interesting. So there's obviously not a fear, but there is a worry that we may see casting shift totally. Like, do we go back to MACTAs and all this sort of stuff?
Well, we still have some
mateship, but yeah. Well, that's more US Survivor. But casting is something that they can really impact because at the end of the day, they're going to pitch the group that they think is going to work. That is definitely a point of difference. The other one is just how do we approach the twists in the season? Are we looking at more an old school style? Are we going to be making production more impactful in terms of how many twists we're going to throw at the group? And so that is a worry, because I do feel like we've got a good balance. We know what happens with the we know there's going to be non-elimination episodes. We get them out of the way pre-merge. That's great. This is working. Like these sort of things, they've found their groove. So hopefully what I'm hoping is they take all the learnings from these seasons that have been successful and they just simply can just tweak it a little bit to make sure that we've still got these interesting characters out there and that we still let the players play the game and we're not hampering them by trying to impact them too much. We don't muck around with the non-eliminations after merge, because I hate non-eliminations after merge. So there's a few things there that I think there's some really good learnings that I hope they take with them. But at the same time, it may freshen things up a little bit. Maybe we don't need new producers out there.
I like what we have.
Don't change. Never change. Never change. I don't think they're going to drastically change it. I don't think they're going to drastically turn around. But I do think casting is going to feel different. I think the next year's cast is going to feel different. I do. Mark?
Yeah.
Well, this is where I allow myself a gap, because I think there's Australian Survivor, there's a gap, and then there's the US Survivor currently. So, and I think a lot of that comes down to my man DF. So yeah, credit where it's due. Like I think casting, but also like deep integration of his brain and the leadership's brain into the game. Like they really think about the game, how it works, and how the cast thinks, like on an individual basis, but also from a game perspective. So it's kind of like an obsession. I think like you really have to have an EP that is really tuned in. So I think they've got it. I think they have people there. Like there have been people around like the show that have been there for a long time, as was DF before he was EP. So I think they can do it. But I think it's just about that, like thinking really clearly about what makes the game great. Make Survivor, keep Survivor great again.
Is it fun, Mark? Is it fun? You got to ask yourself, is it fun though?
Is it fun? I never had that asked of me. But I think
I know what's happening.
Carry on. Anyway, so yeah, no, I think it's going to be. I think it's definitely like going to come down to casting as well, and like the mix that they choose, and like just the tone of the seasons. And I think that a lot of it will also be around like the theme, like whether they, because I think that basically like creating a theme, creating a narrative, which it really helps people that aren't big fans of the show to kind of, who are players, to kind of just like help them do confessionals, or like help them sort of like find their place in the game. So they're not just like sort of like shunted off to the island and it's like, all right, go do this thing. And you've got Eden out there and you've got these other people out there and good luck. So I think it's going to be okay. I really have confidence in it. And I think Australia v World is also going to be a huge, we haven't even seen it yet. And that's going to be a big influence. Hopefully the next players can see that before they go out there. So yeah, but I think we're in safe hands. And as I said, there's a big gap, so we're safe. It's all good.
I do think this was the purest season in Australian Survivor history of the 10 seasons we've had. Like, you know, Titans v Rebels was already out of that episode. Like, you know, without the game-breaking twists. Because, you know, it's really hard with non-elims. If anything this season, I was like, they can probably afford to push it further. Like, Titans v Rebels has the episode 10 twist, which is egregious, and that was the biggest twist that DF I think did. I'm like, I don't know what other season, because like seasons 1 and 2 that had a lot of non-elims, that had people coming back into the game after they'd been voted out. Heroes versus Villains has like the surprise final 3, which kind of changed things up in the end game. Here they knew from like final 6 they could kind of plan out their end game. I do love a final 2 as well. Really glad that we have that. I mean, Brains versus Brawn was like the opposite end of the spectrum, the original one, which was like a game-breaking twist a lot of the time, and we had to like see past that for like, you know, how good the season could be and was. I think this is the purest off the top of my head. But Mark is shaking his head. But do you just agree with me, or do you just not? I don't know what I'm doing now. What did I do wrong?
I'm just doing jury faces back at you, Shannon. No. I think Titans v Rebels. I think Titans v Rebels. Like I think the Baron twist is really hard for players because it really affects your body. It just losing food and shelter at that point in time in the game is brutal. So I think the Baron twist,
more than the episode 10 twist from Titans v Rebels, they took away everyone's votes.
You can still win. I don't know. I think like it really affects your brain. Like Baron at that point in the game is just it's just harsh. Yeah. Anyways,
I think if they were going to do that, if they were going to do that, they should have brought them all back together at Tribal Council without giving them a chance on the beach. That would have been at least a bit more interesting for me. Because
it was such a subtle twist compared to taking away everyone's votes. That's my point, is that everything was like too subtle, which was fine because it's the purest season of all time, and I'm not mad at it. I think that I'm right. No one's competing for their votes. Everyone kept their votes. Love that.
Yeah. Everyone had their votes. That's true.
Yeah, love that. Okay, what else can we get wrong? Let's do this game that Mark wanted to play, where people are going to be brand ambassadors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shout out to my favorite one of my favorite podcasters, Annabelle from Australian.
I'm on a podcast with the two of us to say that.
One of. I said one of. There was
rank him with gaps.
Annabelle Gap. No, I'm kidding. So everyone. So like, I like to play this game with Annabelle, where like, so think of a player, think of a brand, like which brand is going to be like calling up Eden. So like we're thinking of Eden here, and we're like, okay, who's going to be calling up Eden? He's already there, Village Cinemas, like, or whatever cinema chain you're at. Is Hopeless Village? Is it Village?
It's correct, Mark.
It's Village.
Well
Okay,
free chicken jockey popcorn bucket coming your way, Mark.
Excellent. So I'll kick us off. Okay, so Karen, my favorite. She's about to get called by a lemon juice company. You know why? Because one taste and you'll make a face. So you've got to go from there. Like, so like, you know, because Karen all season, she's making faces, just suck on a little bit of lemon juice, and Karen's like making a face. All right.
I'm really bad at this game, although I do love this one.
Okay, I've got a couple. I've got one that came to mind for me that I think he's really going to move some product.
Okay.
This is our mate Zen. He's getting a call from the Oxford Dictionary.
Yeah, dictionary. That's a good one. That's a really good one.
But it's missing a few pages. It's secondhand books. He's
repurposing. He's got, guys, everyone's going to want to know this. You got it 2 words a day. Come on, read it through. And he's going to move some digits. No one's going to be using auto spell check anymore. It's going to be all Zen selling some more Oxford dictionaries.
Yeah. Do you think every single word, like the example word is the word.
It says example. It just reuses it.
All right, mine. Okay, number 2.
Do you think the dictionaries have a marketing department? Anyway, I think it's a great sell.
Shannon.
Yeah, Oxford do. Yeah, they do word of the year, don't they? They do.
Do you have one, Shannon? Do you have one?
No, Mark, please go. Yeah.
All right. Okay. AJ, Specsavers, because he has a thing for eyes. That's just
that's good.
Yeah.
I just had him. I had AJ representing OpenAI. You know, and we can have a nice conversation. He can do some programming. Yeah, I think it was good.
It's like when OpenAI spoke. There was like those 2 AIs that were speaking to each other, and then they talked to each other in their own language. Oh my god, amazing!
Yeah. They just decided it was easier just to talk in dots and dashes. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, I feel like you've got to do. I mean, Miles, like who could forget Dear Rat Boy? Surely something rat adjacent.
Oh, he's on the reboot of Ratatouille, the movie. It's Miles's face on the rat. Like he's just there, like chopping up onions, you know, making a little bouillabaisse.
Yeah.
Like,
So what it is? It's Khan. It's Khan with AJ under his hat.
Miles, yeah.
No, he's the apprentice. Right. He's the apprentice. You know, like.
You think Khan watched this season? Otherwise, he's going to be very confused. He's going to be super confused about
why is a rat boy in my head?
Also, I'm realizing now that I didn't. Did I put Liz in my winner rankings? I didn't. I gapped right through Liz. Where's Liz?
I thought that was on purpose.
Okay, sorry. Like Jericho Pia, Gap, Liz, Gap. She's in her own tier. Okay. What else?
Throwback.
Yeah. Callback. I'm like, I literally just like spaced on Liz. People would have been angry. Know that I came back to it. Who else is in this season? I think that's the
Paulie. Don Julio Tequila. Because he
Christianity,
brings the salt.
I thought.
I like that one.
Because he brings the salt. What about just like Jesus?
What, just him on the cross?
Yeah. Like Zan's doing dictionaries and Paulie's on the Bible. Like
on the Bible. Yes, exactly. See, you see the vision. You see the vision.
Yeah. Hot Bible.
Yeah.
It's like you go to a hotel, like a little motel, like $10 a night, and you're like, whoa, hello. I'm gonna read this.
It's the only Bible that opens this way.
It's not a calendar, Eden.
Bible calendar is wonderful.
Oh,
see, now you've created a whole product.
Flip
this is like
to
the
December,
diplomat.
Baby. December's always the best.
Moses, but yeah, it's good. Laura, I think Laura. I was trying to think of something witchy. So, what about Witchery shoes? They're a famous shoe brand. I think she could go. I think that would work for Laura. I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Mark? Yeah, that's good. I think Zara. She's 4 seasons Finland because she's bougie. She's going to be on the next season of The White Lotus, and she's the Ice Queen. So
I love that. We have so many Finnish listeners. How wonderful that you would say that. I recently found out in the last couple of days that we have many Finnish listeners. Wonderful people. I've gotten so many messages from the Finnish.
Shout out to the
shout out to the Finnish listeners that we have, because we have obviously a player on AUV World from Finland who's on Finnish Survivor. Words I'm learning. You should have seen the symbols in my DMs. symbols I've never seen before. You know, we have Finnish
Or
listeners.
Viking
One
symbols. They're like Viking. Rah.
A lot of Mjolnirs and things like that. Yeah, good.
We all have a lot to learn about Finland. I think that's pretty evident. Who else is
Well,
in? What about
they
Matt?
kind of claim
homework.
that Santa Claus comes from Finland, but the other Nordic countries like dispute it. So I'm keen for the Finnish listeners to come.
Santa
in and,
Claus comes
say-
from Coca-Cola, mate.
Well, that's one. That's the branding. What about Max? What about some sort of Max?
Oh, just like
rat poison.
Yeah.
No, like I see that. Like, well, I
But it
was
didn't
gonna
work.
go.
Terrible rat poison where the rat goes on to win Survivor and you get voted out.
It makes a super rat. Yeah.
Yeah, so this one's for Eden. It's like Disney is going like, okay, how can we make like a cool new animated movie? There's Ratatouille versus The Mask 2. Because Max is like the mask. He's Jim Carrey. He puts on the mask and then he goes into battle with Khan with the Rat King on his head, which is Miles. So I think there's got to be some Jim, because essentially Max is Jim Carrey. And so he's got to be in the Mask reboot.
Oh,
and
right.
then there'll be like a
yeah.
all righty then. Yeah.
Got a P-A-R-T-Y. Yeah.
Kaylin, that was amazing. Kaylin is definitely like coconut juice or whatever. Coconut milk.
Oh,
No, I was thinking.
Really
I was thinking. He could represent RSPCA, Kaylin. You know, the golden retrievers. He's a dog. He's a dog lover. Like adopt now, sort of thing.
Adopt a Kaylin. Adopt, don't shop a Kaylin.
Oh, that's so good. I was thinking Patagonia because he's like outdoor clothes for like private school boys, and I think Patagonia like donate like all of their profits to charity, and like like Caden's like, again, like, is he in Finland? Let's just say he's in Finland.
No,
skiing across
in Norway.
He's in Norway.
Norway. Okay.
I don't know if we have
Nordics.
Nordics.
Let's just say the
They haven't been
Nordics
messaging
then.
me.
He's in the Nordics, and he's like donating money for charity. So I was thinking Patagonia, but
Are you working for Patagonia? I've learned a lot about Patagonia now.
Hey, Mark, you're right. Patagonia has pledged to donate all its profits to environmental causes. I did not believe that.
Why did you doubt me?
I'm terribly sorry. I will never doubt you again, Mark. Corporate greed. That's wild.
Yeah, we were saying the one challenge they had with the one sponsor with IKEA. We were saying it's wild that the challenge wasn't into an IKEA flatback puzzle. Like, right from the
How did they not have a flatback challenge? Outrageous. And
how was they should have had meatballs? I thought they should have had the meatballs there.
Swedish
that's
meatballs.
like the food.
Yeah.
With that little cranberry sauce.
And how, instead of a car, you do a kitchen reno. You get a kitchen reno instead from IKEA, where they totally redo your kitchen for you. That's what they should have done, because that's not going to cost IKEA that much. IKEA
wanted to just donate the pillows. Like, IKEA was like, we will invest $30 into this.
What is this? What is this show? What is this show?
Yeah.
I had one more for Ali. I thought Ali could do TED Talks for young people, because when she was talking to AJ, she showed empathy. She wanted to talk to him when he was down. She put her hands on her hips. She told him he was on the bottom. She told AJ that he was making himself on the outer, and then it wasn't a matter of whether he was going home, but a question of when. So I think that fits.
I totally forgot how brutal that was. That you just totally brought that conversation back. I remember that, where she just totally laid into him. Oh wow,
The indignation I felt about that conversation fueled my support of AJ for the entire game. From straight through the hostages, all the way through the final three. I really love that AJ was nice to Miles, and I like AJ generally. But that conversation sealed it. I was like, I'm an AJ fan for life. Like, you have me through it, and you can do whatever you want. Like, I'm still now an AJ fan. So thank you, Ali. You've changed the way that I experienced the season as well.
Yeah.
And should we look at this just quickly? Final Chizzy charts. Miles is there.
Oh, here we go.
55 points. Miles won the game and the Chizzy. So I thought we would just throw that up there. AJ came second, obviously 49 points, and Kaylin on 38, and that feels right. Those three guys having by far the most points.
Wow,
right. I think Kara and Logan. Yeah.
I thought maybe Logan or Karen would have got a few more. That's interesting.
They did. They got a lot.
Rich got one. There you go. I like that you have the what is the Chizzy.
That's not mine. That's Randy Newport.
Oh, okay.
Randy Newport does the charts. Thank you, Randy, for the charts.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you the many incredible people that we have had helping out the whole season. Carl Durrett has done the confessional charts. Nick Callahan has given the social media. We have a lot of great people working on it. But let's look ahead on AUV World. Apparently not executive produced by DF. We're finding things out in the moment. We all know things. We all came prepared. We all know what's going on. Thoughts and feelings? How are you feeling about it, Eden? Is it the culmination of your entire existence?
There is no point in my life that I would ever I ever thought something like this would happen. I never thought we would get that like players like these people that I grew up watching, your Parvities, your Suris, your Tonys, playing against people like your Davids and your Georges. It just never even crossed my mind that we would get to this point. And it is a culmination of such a big part of my life to see all of these people come together at once. I am so excited for it. It's ridiculous. It's just going to be. I'm really interested to see how some of these American players sort of change and evolve for our game as well, because it is a very different game at this point. And it's a new, and we haven't seen a 14 day. Is it 14 days? It's 15 days.
We don't know yet. I think from the record, we don't know how long it is. It might be 39 days.
It's definitely a shorter game.
46 days.
Imagine that. Yeah, exactly. It's going to be it's going to be absolutely wild. I really hope there's some cross tribal things, like this whole Dondi alliance between David and Parvati, and like that sort of stuff to come into the season. Already knowing that, we already know David's just won, spoiler alert, $9 million. So that coming in, that mindset coming into the game, how Kirby's doing back-to-back seasons, how is she going to evolve now? It's just so. It's Sarah's back. Like all these, talk about swinging for the fences. They've gone all big, especially for this Australia team, all the big names. I'm so interested to see how they sort of work together. Luke, like, who thought we were going to get Luke back again? I don't know, man. I'm so excited for it. I'm so excited. Mark, what about you, buddy?
Well, you just made me think of something that made me a bit worried. I'm a bit worried about this season now because
why?
you were listing out all the Australian players. There are 7 Australian players and only 3 Americans. And we know what happens when the US have a trade deficit. They really don't like that. So now I'm worried. Now I'm worried about tariffs on the game.
It's all tariffs, baby. All tariffs.
No, I'm kidding. No. It's obviously going to be awesome. I'm really excited to see, like, everything you said times 10.
Rank it. Yeah. Right now, number 1.
No, like
Sorry.
Cassandre, like a French-speaking Quebecois player.
Oh wow, listen to that. What's that?
Je parle français, ouais. Comment Cassandre?
See, I need you to watch
oui,
Quebec
Survivor.
Survivor.
Ménage à toi.
65 episodes.
C'est Tabarnak pour les Québécois qui écoutent. Non, c'est
croissant.
Poisson. Yeah, anyway, so I'm excited for the Quebecois. I don't know, like, who the hell's Cassandre? I have no idea.
Great question.
Finland dude, got no idea. I've heard that the New Zealand chick is good. They filmed in Thailand, which is kind of interesting. And then I've seen some South African. Yeah, I don't know.
Rob, Rob from
Lydia. Rob. I watched Varna's season, which I loved, but I haven't. I wish I would have loved to have seen Verna play, or Palisa. She was fun. But Rob, yeah, like I'm excited I'm excited to see these global players play, because who the hell knows what happens in their season? I don't know. Like, it's going to be.
Well, we're going to find out.
Yeah. And they're going to be put on the global map next to Parvati. Like, think of your Lisa from New Zealand. Where is she?
She's going to die.
Like, where? Like, it's like 10,000 people in New Zealand, and she's playing against Parvati. Like, it's huge.
Yeah, I hope we merge quick and we can get everyone mixing in. I think it's going to be so cool.
You guys merged at 14 players, and they have 14 players. So maybe it's day 1, AUV World, 1 challenge, and now you did it. You didn't get Medivac out of the first challenge, which is sometimes rare. So now you're going to the merge drive. You survived. Okay,
question: will there be subtitles for everyone? Like, do you think everyone, like, this is just going to be like default subtitles?
Like,
I think accents?
Yeah, possibly.
It'll be. I need it for Parvati's terrible Australian accent. Only Parvati can get away. Oma can't the same way. Parvati, that was not good.
Oh, I heard Andy's. Shout out to Andy with his Australian accent on one of the ones.
I heard that.
Yeah, that was incredible.
So yeah, not as good as your French accent though. He's now been like Now, if I was going to
gonna
rank
speak
the
French,
accents of my feedback show guests, it's like Mark doing French.
It's not an accent.
Okay.
Well, whatever.
wait a
You do the accent when you
Hello.
speak that way.
Hello, Sharon. Shannon, I will talk Russian now.
Andy Gap, 50 feet of crap. Eden.
That's why
My
you and
Russian-
Val didn't get along,
but-
Eden.
Okay, that's why. What about car pot? What about South African? What about that? That is exactly what you are. My South African accent comes from Blood Diamond, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Well, Leonardo DiCaprio is not
Long
South
sleeve
African, so
shirt.
I think we see where the broken telephone has gotten us.
Mate, I can do any accent. Don't you know this, guys? I'm versatile. I can play any age. Come on.
Australia View World Season 2, Eden.
It's just me
Doing
doing
accent.
I'd watch
Yeah.
that, Mark.
That is, I mean, look, that what, like, I'm saying
Are
Siobhan.
you
but
bald?
her name-
No. Can you do an accent? Yes, you're in.
Oh, you're
Sarah Snook is doing a one-woman show, 26 characters. Eden could do the same thing.
I can.
Yeah.
I can any
Can
age.
you win a
any
Tony
style,
then?
accent,
Two,
any
you got
age.
24
I've
to
done
go.
plenty. I've done 11 comedy festival shows, Shannon. How many? Are you coming down to any of them?
I was
No.
meant to. I had just gone back from overseas that day. Don't hold that against
Yeah,
me. I really wanted to be
No,
there.
that's okay. I had
endorsed
tickets.
it.
I had tickets reserved for you and everything, Shannon. There were just 2 empty seats with a little nameplate that said Shannon seats, and they were just
No,
empty. And I just kept looking at them the whole time.
Oh, you know me. You know I'm never going to get over this. You know that I will not take this well, and that I will not take it like a joke, and I'm just going to cry for days. I'm sorry, Eden. I'd come back that day.
Please
That day. Anyway, what is Quebec Survivor? I'm learning a lot about. We also were contacted by many of the French Canadians. Okay.
Oh,
yes.
put me in touch. Like,
Yeah, well,
we
they-
can podcast in French with them. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, Mark, you're on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Can you
How many
speak French,
accents do you
Shannon?
speak? No, I don't speak any French. Okay, I speak a little bit of terrible Hebrew. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mazel tov.
Yeah.
No, I speak
Shalom.
French, Spanish, and Thai and English. That's it.
Incredible. Well, you are going to be useful for at least so we don't know if we can get subtitles for the Finnish and the Quebec versions of Survivor. The Quebec version is 65 episodes, but some of
What?
them, yes, I know,
What? Hang
I
on.
know, it's
What?
crazy. I'm making my peace with it. Okay,
Croissant
the Quebec version.
It's
is
on
60
every day.
Yes,
They got live.
Yes.
They got live feeds. It's like Big
I will-
Brother.
I-
on
Big
Play.
Brother.
I've now
I believe,
understood.
Mark.
Okay, so firstly, some of the episodes are an after show, which I'm going to skip. As an after show alumni, I feel kind of bad, but that's out. And then a lot of the episodes are just like Sunday night is Tribal Council, and I think that one's like maybe 44 minutes, like no ads. And then because I don't think we're gonna have ads on like the whatever version of subtitles.
Hang on.
Quebec
You're
Survivor,
saying
I
you're
guess.
saying an episode is Tribal Council, a whole episode.
Yes, and then every day
What?
we get 22 minutes, which might just be like a challenge and like one camp life scene. And then if I speed that up, that's not that bad. So I think that maybe I will watch 65 episodes or so of Quebec Survivor.
But Shannon, what if they have idols hidden in challenges? You're going to miss it if you skip through them.
Yeah, I'm speeding past that, okay? But if they
Yes.
have the best challenge of all time, I'm gonna miss it. So I'm hoping to come back from Europe and watch the Finland Survivor and the Quebec Survivor, and then I'll know everyone. Because like I know so much about the other 12, I just
queen.
feel bad.
All right. Can we put a shout out? If there's any Quebecois people listening right now, send Shannon a totally legal link to your totally legal
there's-
Survivor show, and so I can watch it. Please, thank you very much.
Well, I think I can get it. It's about. Can we get the subtitles? You can definitely
No, I
get
don't
Quebec
need it.
Survivor. You don't need it, so you can watch it. It's out there, Mark. You can find it. I'll
Yeah.
help you with that. But if there are subtitles, anyway, I need to look into it. But I'd rather just. Can I just go to Europe first and then come back and watch a combined like 80 episodes of these seasons?
Go to
Right.
Europe, learn Finnish,
Yes.
and then you can come back
No.
and watch.
Yeah.
Mark's got homework now. Mark has to narrate the entire Quebec Survivor so you can listen to.
Yes, we watch it on Zoom, and you just tell me what's going on.
There's
Yeah.
probably a market in that right now.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
That should be your brand ambassador for that. Translator of these international seasons of Survivor. You also need to learn Finnish.
There's money right
Yeah.
there, mate.
Sheesh.
Anyway,
Right.
we're very
People-
excited and
Yeah, we are very
daunted.
excited.
Yeah, but this is all
So
I
we've got
have.
just-
I don't know.
Pray for a good boot order. Let's just pray for a good
There is
boot
no
order.
good boot order
Who's-
because
who's
every
gonna
boot
win?
is sad.
Oh, yeah, that's
Who's gonna
good.
win?
I said Sarah
Uh,
before they went out, so I'm probably just tied to that.
Imagine if Suri wins finally.
I know.
Nah, so he's gonna get
man.
twist screwed.
Oh man, God.
Shannon's
Because DF's not in
Very
charge.
good.
DF's not in charge. Who knows what they're gonna do? Now I know that. I don't trust it at all. God knows what's gonna happen to Sari.
The global people are definitely have a bit of an advantage, I reckon, because no one knows their game, and so as long as they're not annoying, it could be someone interesting coming through.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think any Aussies. Which of the Aussies are going to do well?
Oh, fun fact, by the way. My brother reminded me of this because I was like, who will know Lisa? Who's watched Survivor New Zealand? Luke was my guest for the final 4 episode of Survivor New Zealand. I assume he watched most of that season, and he was in the penultimate recap with me. I don't know if he'll remember the game, but he has seen Lisa play, and he saw her conduct a 2-1-1 vote, and then he would go on to conduct a 2-1-1 vote. So, yeah, fun thing. Yeah, who are the Australians? I think Sarah could do really well.
Sarah could do well.
She'll be unassuming. I think David could do well. He's so well connected. Like, is David just going to monster another season? Like, possibly.
I think David's got to go for the song right now. I'm just going to go for the Quebecois. Yeah. Like, that's my person.
Because you want to keep speaking like in the French accent.
Does the Finnish guy speak English? Does he speak some English? Does he actually? I don't know. Like, that's going to be really hard.
They cast him. They're like, "Oh, you don't speak English? Shit, sorry."
And they go, "I've made a huge mistake."
The funny thing that in Survivor South Africa, you could do that.
I'm a translator. You go on the island. You're translating him live, and you're like, and you're telling him, "Yep, they're going to split the vote on you, mate. Use your idol."
Yeah. Strategic consultant.
Blindside.
Yeah. Strategic consultant and translator in one go. That's amazing.
Oui, Jeff. Hey, did you read that interview with Jeff, who suddenly said about an international version? Oh, we're not quite there yet. He didn't totally rule it out. He sort of said,
no,
"Oh yeah, look, it's been talked about, and we're not quite at that point yet."
There's no way. Wow, they hate us.
They hate it. Yeah, so I don't know about that.
No, but in Survivor South Africa, because it's such a like multilingual society, there are alliances often made on languages. So it would be very unfortunate if it was like a 12-person English-speaking alliance and like a 2-person non-English-speaking alliance.
Non-English-speaking, yeah.
That would suck, really but yeah. Anyway.
But you're right. If someone speaks French, if there's someone else that speaks French out there and they can just talk in French, like that would be pretty cool with a Quebecian person.
Maybe Janine. Janine, she's pretty.
She's
got like a global company. It's like Boost.
Do they have Boost Juice in Quebec?
I heard Janine sold Boost Juice. And which is like, because I got a Boost Juice the other day at the airport, and I was like, well, this was for nothing now. But I heard that she now has Yochi, and I freaking love Yochi. Who can be the brand ambassador for Yochi? It should be me. I freaking love Yochi. I'm going to Google this right now.
Did you buy Boost Juice in solidarity with Janine? Is that
I was like, it's Janine season, so I do like Boost. When I go to the airport, I get Boost Juice, okay? That's just what I do.
Shannon
brand ambassador, Boost Juice and Yochi.
Yeah, my whole thing is that I love the brands.
Anyone in the show that's connected with anything, Shannon's all in. Shannon's like,
I drank BioStrath live on a podcast once, so I can't see now if she sold it. But I'm going to go into the Wikipedia page. Will you guys give your plugs while I do this, Mark? Where can people find you and your favorite podcast co-hosts that are not us?
So find me on Instagram, Mark T Warnock. I'm on the other ones as well, but I'm most responsive on Instagram. And hit me up. I'm going to enjoy a little detox from Survivor before Australia v World, except for maybe watching 65 episodes now of Quebecois Survivor. So yeah,
you can find me at Eden Porter 1 on Instagram or Eden Porter on Twitter, as well as listening to Survivor Debrief with me and my brother Josh, where we've debriefed the entire season. I'm looking forward to doing that again, backing it up for Australia vs. World. And keep an eye out for another season of Cancelled Movie Report. We're recording very soon. Should be out in a couple of months. Me and my friend Cambo do a podcast about the greatest movies never made, where we recreate them as audio dramas that you can listen to. All very fun. Thank you, Shannon, for having us. Yeah. Lovely chat. I love a bit of an Invisible Hand reunion. It's always fun to talk to you, Marky Mark.
Yeah, this was great. I knew everything that was going on, and everyone was really nice to me, and everyone loved all my ideas and takes, and that's what I enjoy. And
I mean, listed as much.
yeah, and
Anything that we
you can
didn't
rank
like, you
those
can
takes.
blame on your brother.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, that was an interesting idea. He wasn't saying definitely do it. He was saying it's an interesting idea. Anyway, I got what you meant, Jay. It's fine. I'm sorry. I looked it up in all the many plugs that Eden had, and I can't see that Janine has sold Boost Juice. So I'm glad I bought that Boost Juice. And I think her sons bought Yochi, which is frozen yogurt for the internationals.
Oh my God.
It's so good. So I'm gonna go have some right now, actually. Thank you guys. This is the last podcast of the in season of Brains V Brawn II. And I say that to make myself feel better, like, you know, the coverage is ending and I've like achieved something, but then immediately the deep dives will start. And so clearly I'm in the place for that. No, it's gonna be great. Firstly, a lot of coverage. We know Global Survivor at Shannon Gates. We had the recaps this week, including the 4 of us, the 3 recappers, Chappelle, Puya, and Mike were with me for the finale recap as well. If you want more of this, drop the X interviews with the final 4 as well. And then deep dives are coming. AJ, Miles, Karen, Logan is how I'm looking at that to try and get that done before my trip, which is soon. Mark, you had a point?
Group. Oh yeah, I forgot to say that for anyone who's made it this far, and because you reminded me that this is an RHAP podcast, and thank you to RHAP for indulging me. I wrote a little piece for the Confessional called, it was a love letter to US fans of Survivor. This is all you need to know ahead of Australia v World. What is Australia culture about, and how does it affect Australian Survivor? And then how's that going to affect Australia v World? So go and read it. And thanks for the good people at RHAP for putting it out there. And also just read the Confessional in general. It's really good stuff. So yeah,
it's
great.
It's not all you need to know. You also then have to watch 65 episodes of Survivor Quebec, but it is one part of what you need to know.
Yeah.
But I'm covering Survivor US as well, Survivor 48, at least for next week, and then I'm going away. Then I'm abandoning it so hard, but for the next week, I am covering it through episode 8. And then also, Mike and I did a cast reveal AUV World podcast. If you want to hear more of our thoughts, that's like headlines on like every player. 12 of the 14 players. Again, 2 of them we are yet to explore. So thank you to all the people who got in touch, our many Finnish listeners. I love you guys.
Go Finland.
Go Finland, right? And thank you both. This was a fun time. This was the wrap up the whole season. Thank you guys for being here.
Always fun.
Excellent. Thanks, Shannon.
Great work, Shannon. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks.
Love you guys.
Thanks, Shannon.
Oh. After all this, see, everyone's fine. And you're not mad about the time I didn't come to your comedy show? You understand what happened?
Not at all, Shannon. Not at all.
I told you I was a strong maybe.
Yes, you did. You did.
Clicks tentative on the Microsoft Outlook.
I didn't know how it would feel coming in with the jet lag.
Yeah.
Because it was like...
You still would have laughed at it. It's fine.
Oh, I would have loved it. I have FOMO and I'm so sad. But next time. I got this comedy show here. It was a one-man show. Many accents. I feel like I've experienced
2-man show. Mark's.
No, I mean when you went into all the accents, I meant Mark as well.
Me and Mark, look for us at next year's comedy festival. Me and Mark will put something on.
Yeah, title, Your Goose is Cooked. Yeah. Okay.
I know what's going on. Anyway, thank you all for listening. Thank you to our team behind the scenes. Thank you, Mark and Eden. And I will see you guys on the deep dive. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.